So this, we're recording this so that we can send it to you afterwards, okay? All right, so in the course of these 2 days, these are the things we'll be covering. The first thing will be telling you who we are as the Skill Garage, and I'm going to introduce myself. Why am I here talking to you? Why am I here? Why am I qualified to say the things that I'll be saying tonight? All right, it's important that you know that. And then I'm going to tell you my transition story, how I moved from being an engineer to becoming a BA. All right. And then, so that you know that you're not in the wrong room, and just in case you are in the wrong room, I would help you to understand who this is for. All right. In case you are in the wrong room, you might as well not want to waste your time. All right. Time is money. Then I will go on to help you understand business analysis in the basic, most simplest, non-technical way possible. And I'll help you understand who a business analyst is. I will help you understand the responsibilities of the BA. I'll take you a bit deeper into the software development life cycle. And then I'll show you what it means to build a product. How do you build a product? I'll teach you and I'll tell you about the MVP, which is the minimum viable product. I'll tell you about Scrum and Kanban. I'll tell you about the Scrum roles, like Scrum Master roles and the Product Owner role. And then I'll tell you how to leverage your previous experience to transition into a mid to senior role in tech. And then I'll tell you how to win in the job market. And then something that people do not fail to ask is the question of certification. All right, is the question of certification. So we will be talking about the question of certification. And yeah, so let's jump right in. The Skill Garage, who are we? All right, so I basically started the Skill Garage in 2021, but before then, in 2020, if you did not fall straight from heaven, like yesterday, you fell down yesterday from heaven and then you started living on earth, you would know that in 2020, the pandemic happened. All right, so there was COVID. And some of my friends lost their jobs in 2020. Well, I wanted to be that friend, that supportive friend, which I've always been. And I decided I was going to help, a genuine intention to help my friends that got laid off to get jobs. So what did I do? I started teaching my friends business analysis, garage style, We formed a group of WhatsApp, and then every Saturday, I would teach them business analysis. Okay, so my friends will go on to get a job. One friend will get a job and tell the other friend, and the other friend will tell the other friend, and the other friend will tell the other friend, and they all kept getting jobs. So it meant that something was working. So they would later tell me, listen, Michael, start something, start an academy. I think what you do is different. I think you teach different. I think your method, your technique, everything is different. Start something. Okay. Finally, in 2021, I budged and we registered the Skill Garage. And in June, we finally got our first paying student who paid for the bootcamp. And since then, we have been focused on growing the brand and delivering value upon value. All right, it's 2022. We've grown exponentially. We hit the US. We start recruiting students from the US. We did a test run in the United Kingdom and Dubai. We introduced our hands-on projects so that students are able to then, have commensurate work experience. And then we introduced some other additions, some other add-ons to our programs, like the product ownership add-on. And in 2023, we fully launched in the UK, and we also started our product management courses, our cybersecurity courses last year. In this year, we are beginning to be a bit more flexible to give some of our services a la carte. All right, we're still in the process. Not everything is a la carte. We've started like the practicum, for example. Those who want to join our practicum program can always join that. We don't have a current batch open at the moment, but it's something that we do. And then we are we're trying to have some other sessions where we can mentor people that were not in our bootcamp. We never used to do that, but in 2024, I think growth is inevitable. So we have to just grow. Till date, I can tell you that we have taught many in our free monthly training, like you're having a free training right now, and I've helped hundreds to launch their careers in tech through our free and our paid programs. Like you're on one of our free programs. Now, let me tell you about free programs like this. Trust me, I'm not going to waste your 3 hours. I can bet you I am not going to waste your 3 hours on this call. All right? I'm not. It's going to be one of the best 3 hours that you've invested this week. Okay, this quarter. I can bet you on that. So stick around to the end, and I can promise you that your 3 hours will be worthwhile. Now, there have been people who have come to free courses like this, and they got back to me to tell me, listen, I took what you told me in those 2 days, and I got a job with it. Yes, there are people like that. And that's the happiness, that's the joy that we derive. We've been doing this right from inception. For those of you who know us, we are always running courses like this free, but then we also have students come into our paid programs. All right, so let's go on. What's our mission? Our mission is to help you start or accelerate your career progression in the digital space by delivering relevant knowledge with commensurate work experience. And our vision, okay, let me say a little thing about that. There is knowledge everywhere these days. How many of you agree with me? You go on YouTube, there's knowledge. LinkedIn Learning, knowledge. Udemy, knowledge. All right, but there's such a thing as relevant and organized knowledge. It's like teaching a kid ABC. You don't teach a kid A, B, Z, Y, Q, P. When that kid goes to school, he then gets confused because he sees other kids saying A, B, C, D, E, F, right? So you want to make sure that the knowledge that you're gaining out there is organized, is relevant, and it's for this time and space. All right. Okay, so we help you start to accelerate your career progression in the digital space by delivering relevant, organized knowledge with commensurate work experience. And our vision is to create a global community where career help in digital is accessible across all verticals and tech domain. And that is why you see us expanding to the UK, to Dubai, to this, to bringing in some other disciplines. It's because of the vision that drives us. All right, like you have a vision for your life, and that's why you're doing the best. It's pushing you to do those things outside your comfort zone, and that's what our vision is doing for us here at the Skill Garage. It's pushing us beyond our comfort zone to be better. Anytime we do what we do here, probably it's me, probably it is Coach Olu, probably it is Coach Sarah, probably it is Coach John, whoever is doing what, whenever we're doing what we're doing, the purpose or what drives us is that we want to raise digital experts that possess the digital skills that matter. Okay, what are our core values? Our core values are student-centeredness. So we are very, student-centered. We're transparent in our dealings. We try to give impact. Integrity is key on what we do. We try to be as inclusive as possible, and we innovate. In fact, one of our products is actually going to Collision this year. And if you are in North America and Collision, Collision is one of the biggest tech conference in North America. I'm going to be telling you about that. So talking about innovation, we are constantly doing stuff that makes us proud and make our students proud. So we are constantly innovating, and I'm probably going to talk about that at some point. And these are projects that students have actually worked on. And good enough, we are going to Collision in June. So I'm happy about that. And I believe that you also will be happy for us about that. Okay. Pillars. What are our pillars? The TSG pillars. Now, remember that when you're building a house, the pillar holds the house strong. And without these things, there is no TSG. There's no skill garage. All right. And what are our 3 pillars? Number 1, collaborative learning. So if you are in our space and you don't find collaborative learning, then you have to check, are you in skill garage? Because you may be in the wrong place. All right. You will have to actually see cross-functional teams working. You will have live group work, brainstorm sessions. You will learn from mentors. You will learn from peers. Okay. The second thing that you can actually be confident of is the practical work experience. We go where the trend goes. We go where the world goes. We go where tech goes. So you'll be using industry standard tools. You'll be getting hands-on training, being handheld, live projects and practice sessions. And the third is building an ecosystem, which is kind of like the bigger part to do, right? It's you going through our system and then becoming part of the system. Does that make sense? Going through the system, becoming part of the system. So building an ecosystem where we can have alumni interaction, mentorship, networking, referrals, and on-the-job support. Like recently, we had one of our alumni just refer about 2-3 of our candidates for a job, okay, in Alberta. So you see, we want to be able to create that community that is looking out for one another. We have alumni looking out for one another. Now, this is not something that we advertise, but from time to time, we have some alumni that get to come back to say, hey, can you provide me 1 or 2 people that can, that can get this work done? All right, so that's the kind of ecosystem that we want to build. Now, if you are on social media, if you're on Facebook, Instagram, X, Twitter, LinkedIn, please do follow us at the Skill Garage. Please, 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 and do engage our content. Okay. All right. Also, follow us on YouTube because the recording for this class will be uploaded on YouTube. So please do subscribe on YouTube at the Skill Garages. Look for us on there and subscribe to us on YouTube. All right, so what is our process? Basically, we start with training you, giving you organized, relevant, thorough, expert, peer-to-peer, mentor-to-peer kind of training. And you can tell that that is thorough in itself. And then move from there to giving you the experience that buttresses the knowledge that you've just derived, right? By, working on live projects, using that knowledge on weekly. And then you're getting weekly project guidance, project feedback, you're working with your cross-functional team, you're collaborating, and at the end of the day, we can be confident to give you a reference for that experience. And then there is the coaching aspect of it where we sit one-on-one with you for a resume clinic, one-on-one with you for your interview prep sessions, weekly coaching sessions, one-on-one mentorship and coaching, and it's plenty. Number 4 is the on-the-job support, where we don't allow you to work alone. Like the Liverpool Football Club, you never work alone. So we give you, that 3 months of probation is very important. You don't want to get hired and fired. Hired, fired. You don't want to hear that. You want to be hired and you want to stay and provide excellence on the job. So we stick with you while that is happening so that you can give the best, okay? And that is one-on-one job support. So just helping you to know who we are and what we do here is very critical. So you now know who we are, and hopefully over time, I'll get to know who you are too. All righty. Now, who am I? I'm just that guy. But a couple of things about this guy. I used to be a university lecturer. I still think in my mind that I am because I get excited when I'm teaching. Okay, I get excited. It's my passion. It's what I do any day and any now and then. All right. I used to be a university lecturer, and I'm an associate fellow of Higher Education Academy in the UK. Now, what that means is that I used to teach, or I can teach in a UK university, right? Okay. I started teaching from the age of 15, whether you like it or not. Right up, high school, I started teaching physics, and that's why probably I know physics so much. All right, I can wake up and teach physics from the top of my head. All right. So I started teaching at the age of 15, and since then it's been my thing. Okay. I'm a senior product manager. I've been doing this for more than 10 years in the digital product development space. I'm a product pundit. I'm just telling you, I just told you that one of our products is going to Collision this year. All right. I've worked with 20 plus global brands, the ones that you know and the ones you don't know, like Coca-Cola, Rogers, Telos, Abbott, ABB, Cadillac, Fairview. You can just name them. I have worked with and across several verticals like health, finance, hospitality, your SIM cards. How many of you use SIM in Canada? Yes, we built that. So, I've worked with plenty of these names. All right. I'm a certified BA myself. All right. I'm a certified Scrum Master. So when I start talking about certifications, don't think I don't have one. All right. I'm just trying to look out for you. All right. Certified BA. I'm a certified Scrum Master. I'm a certified Scrum Product Owner. I'm an ardent Agile evangelist. And recently, we just got nominated top 5. We're still expecting the results for top 3. As part of as the Obsidy BMO Black Entrepreneur of the Year 2024. That's huge. All right. And I'm just happy that at least somebody recognizes that we are doing a great work here at the Skill Right now. If you're ever on LinkedIn, please do give me a follow on LinkedIn, and you can get to see some of the things that I post, some of the motivations that I put out there, some of my articles, some of my thought process. I share them on LinkedIn from time to time. So please do follow. It's that guy with that, sheepish grin, and you can't miss it, Michael Ackman. All right, that's me. So I feel like with all of this under my belt, is that how they say it? Under my belt, under my belt. I think that's how they say it. With all of this, I think I am in a good position to help you navigate these waters. Is that okay? Okay. Now that you know me, let's push that aside. And let's talk about who is this for, so that if you think you're in the wrong room, you can as well just exit. All right. So who exactly is this for? All right. A couple of people. All right. Okay. If you are a complete novice, all right. If you're a complete novice, this is for you. If you are an ambitious person just looking for the next thing, looking for growth, also, I would say you are in the right place. If you are someone who is just curious, I've been hearing this thing about business analysis. I've been hearing this thing about Scrum Master, product ownership. What exactly is this? Okay, Mr. Curious, you're in the right place. All right. They say curiosity kills the cat, not the BA. How many of you you've heard of that, right? Yeah, it kills the cat, not the BA. All right, so you're in the right place, guy. You're in the right place. You're in the right place. If you're a career changer, all right, looking to switch careers, maybe when I tell you my transition story, you would understand. If you're looking to switch careers, probably you're in a job that you don't really like, or you just feel like you need this, you need to just move from that job, right? You're also in the right place. Or you're a graduate, like one of my students, John Enejo, who who did a master's and finished his master's. Towards the end of his master's, he joined our program, spent about £900. He's in the UK. He spent about £900 on our program. And, you know, just 2-3 months after he finished his program, he was able to land a £74,000 job. That's massive. He actually landed 3 jobs, but the 74,000 pound one was the bigger one, was the biggest one. So bro had to go for that one. All right. I can't blame him. He followed the money. All right. So, he went for that one. So if you are someone like that trying to expand, your options, oh, be my guest. Right. Or you're an immigrant like myself. And you've come to find out the stark reality that sometimes some of the things that you did back home are not like directly translational. Like you can't just easily translate that into a similar role back here or in the US or wherever it is that you are joining for, you immigrated to, right? Yeah, we find ourselves in that kind of situation. For example, I had this student, Chinelo, who was an FIRS boss. I am from Nigeria, and FIRS is one of those, it's like, think about it like the CRA, okay? And she was like one of the top big directors, the directors there. And I can't forget her words. She said, Michael, he believe I left my job as the boss, as the director, and came to Canada to pack pool. You know, it was touching, but she had to put in the work. And thank God today the story is different. She was able to move her family all the way to Saskatoon. She bought a house. She's doing well as a BA right now. So big ups, good for her. Okay, so that's to say that if you find yourself in any of this category, then what we have today and tomorrow is likely going to be for you. Okay? All right. So let me give you some motivation for the road. Let me tell you about myself and how I also, transitioned. And that's me, looking much younger, right? Much cooler, fine boy, things, no pimples. That's when I started my PhD back in the University College London. And everything was looking smooth, good, married at the time, had one child, and I was living in the heart of London. And you know how London can be. You have to be sponsored. if you don't have the money. I was sponsored at the time. But then came this fateful day. I can remember this day vividly. I finished from the lab and got to my computer and realized that I've just lost my funding. All hell broke loose. That was the beginning of, should I call it trouble or self-discovery? I don't know. But looking back now, I think it's a blessing, right? That messed a lot of things for me. Number one, I'm living in London. I'm schooling in London. And you know the Home Office, for those of you who've been in the UK, you don't want to say, I don't have a funding. The next thing, you're back in your home country, you're back in Nigeria. And I didn't want that for myself, honestly. So what did I have to do? I started hustling. All right. This is one of those days after furniture moving. I told one of my friends, just take me a picture. It's one of those pictures I could actually lay hold of. Now, let me tell you what my life was like, just in case you don't understand. I just want to help you understand. I woke up 5 a.m. in the morning. Now, listen, funding is no longer there. I have got to hustle. Woke up 5 a.m. in the morning, daily. For those of you who would probably know anything about London or the environs, you know a place called Whitechapel, and there's a string of offices in Whitechapel. I used to clean those offices. That was my job. Yeah. So wake up 5 a.m. in the morning, and I'll clean those strings of offices in the morning till about 8 a.m., 9 a.m. And then I have to report back to school. Now, the reason why I was doing that was not because I was too interested in school at that time, because I'd lost my funding, right? It's because I didn't want them to realize that something was wrong. So I needed to show up in school, get my supervisor to see me, that he's there. And then once I discover that he has seen me, I take off. I move on to where I will resume my furniture moving work. Very stressful job. Sometimes I'm taking things, through the lift, through the stairs. Crazy. I resume my furniture moving job in the afternoon, and then I'll do that all the way to the evening at Houston, and then I'll take the train. Sometimes I'll also do some cleaning gigs. I can remember my first cleaning gig where I had to break someone's tumbler. You don't want to know the kind of, you don't want to know the review that I was given. But later I later became a very good tasker. I was on TaskRabbit. I was doing a lot of handyman stuff. Sometimes when you're pushed to the walls, you don't know what you can become or what you can do until the real pressure comes. I didn't know that I was a good handyman. I was setting up big IKEA stuff, setting up, cleaning people's things, and I would do this in conjunction with so many other things just to raise funds, just to be alive, just to pay bills. And I know some of you are in that position today, right? And then typically towards the end of the day, I will then take the train or the tube, they call it the tube. I'll take the tube from Houston, okay? I'll take the tube from Houston, the central line, particularly central line, from Houston all the way to Ilford. Why Ilford? Because Ilford is where, my friend introduced, my Asian friend introduced me to some rich Asian community where I could teach their kids and I could tutor them on physics and mathematics. And that's how I, was raising money. And before you know it, I'm coming back again at midnight. And then I'm going to repeat that cycle. And then I did that for 2 years. Just imagine, put yourself in my shoes, doing this for 2 years. Some of you are doing some crazy, trust me, I know some of you are doing some crazy things, some things crazier than what I just told you right now. This is mentally draining. Apart from the fact that it's physically draining, it's mentally draining. I did that for 2 whole years. And then I came to the point where I had to tell myself, I came to the point where I had to tell myself, give me a minute. I came to the point where I had to tell myself that, boy, you need, I came to the point where I had to tell myself, you need a change. You need a change. And that is when I was looking for something. I was just looking for something that could take me out, right? Take me out of it. For me, it was not about business analysis. It was not about product management or project management. I didn't care what it was. As long as it paid good money, I wanted it. And as long as it's not fraud, okay, or anything that was against, my beliefs, right? As long as it was good and fair, I was ready to do it. And that was how I started looking at project management at the time. But for some reason, I stumbled into business analysis, and I stumbled into this guy called KG. Some of you may know him. Okay, he no longer teaches now. So passionate. I was on a call just like this, just like you are on a call right now. I was on a call like this, so passionate. He was, just, telling us everything and giving us everything and giving us the scoop, telling us how he also started, and the people he has helped, the people he has mentored. Wow, I was fascinated. But guess what? I needed to pay 750 pounds for this. For the training, 750 pounds. I needed to pay that amount for the training. I didn't have the amount. But thank God for a friend who gave me the money. Shakiru, I'll never forget that guy for the longest time that I live. I will not. So he gave me that money, and I looked at it and I was like, do I buy baby food, or do I buy food, or what do I do with this money? I said, no, let me invest it. And I thank God that I did that. All right? Because that changed the trajectory of my life forever. So when we talk about mentorship, it's not as if we never had a mentor. I'm proud to say that KG taught me. Yes, he doesn't do this again. He has left this for us to do, but I'm proud to tell you that somebody actually took me and showed me what to do, right? And listen, the rest is story. I have my story on LinkedIn. You can check my featured post on LinkedIn. Okay. I paid the price to upskill. Now I get to leave that hustle behind and live the life that I want, where I do not have to work multiple jobs to feed or provide for my family, which is very key. So I don't know what your motivation is. In fact, I was listening to something today that is not about the what. It's not about the how. What makes you and distinguish you and takes you to the end of the road is your why. Is your why. My why was my family. Because at the time I remember I was in my apartment in London, and I came in and I saw a rat staring at me close to my bed. My wife was sleeping. She was pregnant, heavy. And I was like, I put my hand in my head and I was like, God, because that was the only apartment I could get at the time. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, I just want you to know that where you are is not, you can be what you want to do. You can live life on your own terms now. But beyond all of that, listen, you can aspire to live the life that you want. You can dream all you want. You can dare to dream. You can dare to dream. But dreaming alone will not take you there. You have to take action. And some of you don't even know what you want to take action on. And this is the reason for this class. Just to bring you and help you see what these things are. Because sometimes, some of you just go through to kind of get information, and then you don't get the right information. So this is an opportunity for me to bring information, just like somebody brought information to me a couple of years back. And that information was what changed the trajectory of my life, right? And I'm doing the same thing, paying that forward to bring you information that I believe can help you if you decide to use the information appropriately. So let's dive right in. Like I said, I'm going to make sure that these 3 hours you're spending tonight is not wasted. It's one of the best 3 hours you're going to invest in this month, in this week, maybe in this year. I'll make sure it's not a wasted 3 hours. I promise you that. Okay? All right. So let's start with the main thing. I'm going to introduce you to business analysis. Remember, for those of you who are just joining, let me take you a step back to what I intend to show you in these 2 days. Probably you missed it. So let me take you a step back. I'm done telling you about the skill garage, I'm done talking about myself. I'm done talking about my story. I'm done telling you about what this is for. Now it's time to get into the meat. So I want you to take a training position, okay? If you're lying down on your bed, sit up, get a book, get a writing material, right? Get your writing materials ready and get ready to learn, because we are about to learn, okay? we're about to dive into this thing. So we'll learn about business analysis and all of that stuff. We'll go a little bit deeper beyond the surface. So I don't like calling these things taster sessions. It is not a taster session. If you've ever attended a taster session, you can compare it to what I'm going to give you in the next couple of minutes. It's not a taster session. So I don't like calling it that. It's what it is. It's a masterclass. All right. And then I show you how to build a product. I tell you what the MVP is. I just tell you some of the tips, the things that I believe that even if you decide not to go for a boot camp, at least you can take the information that you have. And then I tell you what the next steps are. And then you can help yourself, navigate your way to a worthwhile career. Is that okay? All right. So that said and out of the way, let's jump right in. Okay. Let's jump right in. So, are you with me now? Introduction to business analysis. Let's go. Now, what I like to do, for those of you who've probably been in my sessions before, as much as I like to be dynamic, I also like to start from first principles. What do I mean by starting from first principles? Basically, one of the things that I've learned in my almost 2 decades of teaching is that it's easier when you take people from what they know and then you gradually take them into what they don't know. It's easier that way. All right. And that's what I'm going to do for you tonight. All right. Now, quickly. If you are new to business analysis, like you are completely new, this is new. You've heard people talk about it. All right. You've heard people talk about it. You've heard people say business analysis and you're just curious. You've not done any research on your own. Like this is your first, dive and foray into business analysis. Okay. I know some of you have had, a few encounters here and there, but if this is your first encounter with business analysis, can you put yes in the chat? I want to see, what's my audience like? Like this is new to you. Like this is completely new. I want to see those people. This is like completely new for you. It's a new thing you are interested in and you've heard a lot about it. You're thinking, you know what? I might as well just take this seriously and know what this is about. That like this is new for me. Can I see yes in the chat? This is new for me, completely new for me, right? And I see yes in the chat. So I see a lot of people saying yes in the chat, that it is yes, it's new for them. Good. And I know that there are some of you on this call, it's not new for you. In fact, some of you are even practicing BAs, and that's fine, quite all right. Because, I love a situation whereby I'm teaching something and I have people that are even experienced on the call so that they can keep me honest. You see, they can keep me honest. You see, I know some people will, hey, if I say something that is wrong, they'll be like, hey, but that's not, and that's fine, but I'm always confident of anything I teach. All right. But anyways, that's fine. I came for you. I came for every one of you. Okay. I came for every one of you, whether you are experienced, whether you're least experienced. Oh, Rossman, I see you. Big boss, I see you. All right. So whether you are experienced, you're not experienced, you are mid-experienced, please stay on the call. I love a full house. I love everyone. And let's just have a swell time. Is that okay? All right. Now let's get into the business proper. So let's start with the concept of change. Now, please stick with me. All right. This may not be your conventional teaching. The reason is simple. I want to take you from what you know, and then I want to take you into the arena of what you do not know. Does that make sense? Okay. So please just play along. Okay. Can you just do that for me? Play along. All right. Now, from time to time, this is a webinar, so it means you cannot unmute yourself and just talk. But from time to time, I'm going to get you to unmute, get you to contribute, get you to say one or two things in on the call. Also, if you have a question, please, there's a Q&A box. Please put your question in the Q&A box. Okay, there's a Q&A box. Please put your question in there, and I will definitely attend to those questions maybe towards the end of our class. Is that okay? So if something comes to you and you don't want to miss it, please don't put it in the chat because the chat will be very busy. Please put it in the Q&A. I beg of you, so that I can, and if by the time we are answering your questions, and I do not answer your question, or I have not answered your question, all right, please do not hesitate to resend it, okay? I probably did not see it, so don't assume that I ignored you. No, I probably did not see it. So maybe you want to resend it, or probably you sent it into the chat, you want to send it into the Q&A. So please, 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 if you do have a question, do me a favor, send it into the Q&A. Is that okay? Good? All right, perfect. Now let's go. I want you to pay attention and look carefully. I want you to observe the following set of slides quickly. Okay? I want you to observe the following set of slides. Please observe the following set of slides. You can see 1991 on the left. You can see 2014 on the right. Let's go to the next slide. Now, the next slide is funny, right? But I can tell you categorically that the person you see on the left is the same person as on the right. The same person. So just in case you don't know who this person is, okay, no names, I'm not naming names, all right? But trust me as the teacher, right? For those of you who don't know who this person is, they are the one and the same person. So I just want you to observe, okay? Just do some observation. One and the same person, okay? All right, this is another one. I want you to observe, just observe. That's all I want you to do tonight, observe, okay? That's what I want you to do tonight. And then observe, still observe. I still want you to observe. Observe what's happening here. I want you to observe. Okay, are you observing? And still observe. Still observe. I still want you to observe. Okay. All right, good. All right, perfect. Okay, in one word, without saying the word change, because I know you're like, he said it is the concept of change, so I'm going to cheat. I'm going to say it's change. No, without saying the word change, can you tell me what you observed in one word? Please put that in the chat. Quickly. I love an engaging class. Evolution. This is where you know people are very smart. I like this part of my class. This is where you see people, very smart people. Let's start. Upgrade, evolution, improvement, rebranding, evolve, transformation, growth, change. Somebody has put change. I said, don't put change now. Just say some of the things you saw. Progression, transformation, good. You can see advancement. So you have all of those play of words: growth, rebranding, upgrade, facelift, reconstruction, remodeling, metamorphosis, all those things you guys are putting in the chat. It's wonderful. So thank you for that, for engaging me in the chat. This is the kind of class that I like. Progression, forward. So thank you, facelift. Thank you for that. Now, if you look at everything that you guys have put in the chart, in the chat box, I can represent that with one thing, one word. You already know the word. One word. That word is called change. Please stick with me. This may not look like or sound like business analysis at this time, but I can bet you that in the next 30 minutes, things will begin to become a bit clearer. Okay, so just stick with me, right? So all those things you've said, whether it's transformation, advancement, transition, innovation, forward, facelift, blah, 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 growth, they all can be, we can summarize that in this one word called change. Stick with me. Let's take a step further. Now let's start from here. Remember, I want to start you from where you are comfortable with, and then take you to the arena of the unknown. Is that okay? Now, do you agree with me that change is inevitable? Do you agree with me on that? If you agree with me, put yes in the chat. If you agree with me that change is inevitable, can you put yes in the chat? If you don't agree with me, it's fine. I would really like to hear from you. Why? Okay? But if you agree with me, just put yes in the chat. If you don't agree, put no in the chat. It's okay. I believe that change is inevitable, right? Even if you decide to not change, the things around you will change, And guess what? By reason of relativity, it will look as if you're obsolete. Yes, so change is inevitable, everyone. It's inevitable. You would have to change in one way or the other. Now, I said that because every day, except the companies that are ready to die, except the companies that are ready to be extinct, every day, companies that you are working for now, even if you don't like the job, companies that you work for in the future, except they want to be obsolete, they are constantly driving change in one way or the other. Now, this alone forms the basis for which BAs will not, the business analysis job function is not going to run away very soon. It's not going to be extinct very soon. No. In fact, in 2025, it has been projected that even with the advent of AI, the business analysis job function will still grow. Yeah, it will still grow. So every day, companies are driving change in the form of AI, digital transformation, digital acceleration, updates to products, upgrades to services, launching new products, rebranding, policy development, organizational changes, process improvements, entering a new market. Changes are always happening. But let me now take you a step back and help you understand this concept of change. Is that okay? Because change is happening around us every time, everywhere. And that's why I showed you those set of slides to begin to help you, come into this space and time where I am talking about change so that I can help you focus your attention on change and say one or two things about change which you need to be aware of. Is that okay? All right. So now let's talk about change because it will be useful going forward when I want to teach you about business analysis. So please stick with me. So let's talk about change. Now, how many of you have noticed that change can only happen in one of two ways? Think about it. When you say something changed or you say a change happened, it could only be one of two things that has happened. Think about it. Think about it critically, and I'm open to hearing from you. It's either number one, you created something new, or number two, you modified that which already is. You modified something that already exists. Think about it. It's either you became a better person or you just worked on something that was there before. And then you say change has occurred. Think about it. Every form of change, in fact, let me blow the cover. Everything you do as a BA will not go outside these two things I've mentioned. I just want to blow the cover. I want to blow the cover quickly. Everything you do as a BA will not go outside these two things I've just mentioned. It's either you are creating something, a new experience, or you are modifying what was already there. But I'm going to explain that a little bit further, right? But first, let's soak this in. Let this soak in. That change will either be something, creating something new, or modifying something that already exists. Okay? You agree with me? You agree with me? Let me say yes if you agree with me. I love a class that is active. Let me say yes if that is something you agree with. Because I know some of you are thinking about it in the back of your mind now, like, is it true? Is it true? But it's true. It's true. Think about it. It's true, right? So creating something new or modifying something that already exists. Okay. Now, the next question that I have for you is, what inspires a change? In your own thinking, what do you think triggers a change? There are so many things that triggers a change, but I want you to put it in the chat for me. Go ahead. This is your time. Put it in the chat. SAPA. Somebody said SAPA triggers a change. I agree with you 100%. Now, for those of you who don't understand what SAPA is, SAPA is the senior brother of poverty. So somebody in the chat said SAPA. Growth, desire to grow, market forces. Thank you. Market forces can push you and trigger you to change. Efficiency can trigger you to change. Consumer needs, consumer taste, quest for improvement, need, all these things can trigger demand and supply, process improvement. But let me just leave this thing. What am I teaching again? Competition. All these things, performance, function. You see, all these things can trigger your organization or even you personally to say, you know what? I'm going to do the change, right? So thank you so much. You guys are too much, man. Too much. Continuous improvement. Thank you. So you see everything you've said, Everything you've said so far. I can put it in one word, that there is a need. Everything you've said. Everything you've said. Performance, competition, market and demand just shows that there is a need. So let's balance it. It means that when there is a need, there is a commensurate change. And I told you what changes, right? When there's a need, there's a commensurate change. Please stick with me. It doesn't look like business analysis yet, but don't worry. Trust me, I'm taking you somewhere. I'm taking you somewhere. So let's look at what a need is. Okay? What is a need? A need can be any of these two things. I know in your mind now you're saying this guy is Mr. Two Things. No, I'm not Mr. Two Things. It just happened to be that when I was putting this together, that was how it came to me. And I looked at it and I said, this is really it, right? So a need is either a problem you are trying to solve. Think about it. It's either a problem that you're trying to solve. A problem could be a limitation, a constraint, and all of those things. They are problems, right? But need is not always a problem, sir. When we undergo a change, it is not because there's a problem. Not all the time. It's not all the time. I know 90% of the time is because there's something we need to attend to. It's a problem. We need to fix it and things like that. But it is not always a problem that triggers a change, sir. Sometimes it's an opportunity that we need to cultivate that triggers the change. Think about it. It's an opportunity. I remember when we used to do our Canada region, our BA class, and then we then had some people from the UK. They were so interested in our class because it was different, right? The teaching was different, everything was different. So we used to have about 4 or 5 people join us from the UK. And they will stay, imagine now it's 7:55. It's like 1 a.m. in the UK. So they are up at 1 a.m. listening to us till 3 a.m., 4 a.m. I said, no, there's an opportunity here. And then I went to our data. I went to the data on Google Analytics, and I saw that the third largest country that was coming to our website was from the UK. People were from the UK. We had Canada, US, of course, and then the UK. And I saw that's an opportunity. Let's train people. Let's train more people so that we can move to the UK. That was not a problem. It was an opportunity, and it demanded for a change. Do you get it? So you see, problem is not always what triggers a change. Sometimes it's an opportunity that the company or the organization needs to capitalize on. So what have I said so far? There's change that is inevitable, and companies are always undergoing this thing called change. And this change is typically always triggered by the need, right? And then the change is either you are creating something new or modifying something that already exists. And the need that triggers this change is actually a problem that you need to solve or an opportunity that you need to cultivate. So far, that is what I have been able to show you. But that's not all. Let's take a step further. My next question, which is a rhetoric, by the way, it's a rhetoric, all right, is, are all changes successful? Are all changes successful? Of course, it's a rhetoric. You know the answer. The answer is no. It's obvious. It's a giveaway. The answer is no. Not all changes are successful. Some changes actually do fail. Some changes are actually successful. But you see, companies don't want changes to be unsuccessful. They don't want to waste money. They want to make sure that these changes are successful. So they bring somebody into the equation. We'll get there. Let's go. A change is successful when it delivers the value and or the intended benefits. Like you came here and you decided that you left the things you were doing. Some of you are supposed to be cooking okra soup right now, but you left it and decided to come to this 3-hour class. At the end of the 3-hour class, how would you say that you've made the best use of that time? Is if you have gained something, if you've gained some value, right? You say, it's worth it, right? At least it's worth leaving that tasty okra soup. You do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, I will now hit you again with another 3 hours from 4 to 7. And you're here again. And then the soup will be done on Sunday. Tori said, that is me. Yeah? All right, just joking. Okay, but back to reality. A change is successful when it delivers value and or the intended benefits. Keep that at the back of your mind. Okay. So I want you to examine this picture that I put in front of you. I want you to examine it. And I would ask a question. Examine it for a minute. I'm going to ask you a question. Was this a successful change and why? So this is where I want about 2 people, just 2 people, so that we don't waste time. I want to, if you want to answer this question, just put your hands up. And I am going to just put your hands up, and then I'm going to unmute you, and then you tell us what you observe. I just need 2 people, 2 people, 2 people out of this, plenty number of people that are here. Just 2 people. I want you to observe this. Tell me whether it's a successful change, and tell me why you think it is what it is that you think. So 2 people, just raise your hand and I will unmute you. I want to hear you talk. Okay? It's okay to put in the chat, but I want to hear some voices. Huh? Don't let me call names, though. There are plenty of people on this call, though. Bolaji, I see you. Damilola, you are there. Donna Kane, I see you. So you guys start raising your hands now so that we can. Moses, Naveen. Okay. Who wants to help us? Was this a successful change? Hold on. Do you guys see my screen at all? Are you seeing my screen? It's like you guys don't see you're not seeing my screen. Because I don't see any hands up. Finally, I see somebody. You can see my screen now. Why are you guys acting as if you don't see my screen on here? 2 hands up. Thank you, brave people. For being brave, I'm going to give you those first 2 people, Yvonne and Adeyinka, if you decide to go on this course, plus the extra discount I'm going to give you tonight. I will give you extra $50 off if you're going for the bootcamp, plus the extra discount I'm going to give you. So Yvonne and Adeyinka, please note that. Plus the extra, I'll give you an extra discount of $50 for just being bold and brave to want to say something. I'll give you that. So Yvonne, it's your time to talk. Say something.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you for the $50 off plus whatever percentage discount you're going to give us.
Go ahead.
For me, I think the change was not successful because there was no proper communication or interpretation from what the customer need, what the customer explained, what the customer needed versus what was produced at the end of the day. There's a lot of mismatch.
There's a lot of mismatch, a lot of miscommunication. Thank you so much. Thank you, Yvonne. I appreciate that. All right, I'm going to disable talking now. And the next person is Adeyinka. Thank you for deciding to say something. All right. All right, so go ahead, Adeyinka. Say something.
Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear, sir. You want to even
okay, perfect.
You're the boss.
All right, so yes, obviously, it wasn't successful, right? Because what the customer wanted was not what was created at the end. so it wasn't successful, right? So there have been a lot of communication breakdown or bias in what was explained, and how it was passed, right?
Mm.
Which is why it wasn't successful. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that contribution. I appreciate it. All right, I'm going to disable talking now and lower the hands. So thank you so much, Yvonne and Deyinka, right? Was that Deyinka? Yeah. Yvonne and Deyinka, thank you so much. And you've just earned yourselves from the extra mind-blowing stupendous discount I'm going to give. I'm still going to give you that extra. So let's I agree with them. It's not successful. I see some people also put some things in the chat. It's not as successful. Thank you, Eragbai. Somebody said, Irina said, no value to the client, so it's not successful. I appreciate that. Saritin said, oh, you're not told this was a test of bravery. That's fine. Come on, it's just $50. Come on. It's nothing crazy. All right, let's just go on. Let's focus on the main thing, right? Okay. So why I appreciate all the things that these two have said, Adeyinka have said, and what Yvonne said. They're right. But you see, there are two things I want us to take out from this. I know it's obvious. Everybody who has an eye, or you have two eyes, you can see. If you have one eye or two eyes, it doesn't matter. All right? I know you can see that this is definitely a fiasco. It was a fiasco, a total fiasco. It wasn't. But there are two things that stands out to me. Okay, one thing. The other thing is an explanation that I want to carry forward to the next set of things I want to say. So please listen. Now, if you look at the last thing here, you will discover that what the customer really needed, like the thing where they in hearts, for those of you who don't understand me, let me put that in English. The thing that was in his mind to do, the thing that was in his, he wanted to do it, the thing that was in his head, what he actually wanted to really express was this thing here, the one with the tire, the jangulova with the tire, that swing. That is what he really wanted. Look at it, what the customer really wanted. But even the customer could not explain what he wanted. And honestly, you will come across people like this that cannot explain what they want. I remember the first time I wanted to book a lawyer and get a lawyer to get me to help me with something, to do some stuff, and I needed to sue somebody and all of that. And then I picked up the phone and I called this guy and I was trying to explain the situation. But it's as if he was not hearing it, So it was like, I felt like I was doing my best to explain what I wanted. But to the lawyer, I was just talking nonsense. So I said, okay, can you ask me a set of questions that can help you, that can help you really get what it is that I want? Because I know what I want and I'm telling you, but it's like you do not understand it. So he started asking me, okay, what of this and that and that, and then he finally was able to understand what it is that I want. Now, listen, in reality, you think it's not true, but in reality, there are some people you work with, even in the organization that you're going to be. There are some people you work with, they know what they want, but they can't express it. So that is why we have something called need assessment. Need assessment, where you're going to throw a few questions here and there just to understand, where the problem is coming from and things like that. And then you can narrow down to what this person actually wants. So that is one of the things that stood out for me here. And I'm going to relate that to a couple of things we're going to be saying going forward. Remember, I have not even started talking about business analysis. So just chill. This is a prelude, and I'm taking you there in the best way possible. Okay? All right. So you can see here an example of a customer that knows what he wants, but he's not able to express it and explain it properly. So even if they understood what he explained and actually delivered the ladder, they would not still have done what this guy really, really needed. Yes, they would have done what he explained, but would they have done what he really needed? The next thing you will then see in this thing that I showed to you is that in the context of a business, when you talk about change in the, please listen, because we are almost getting there. If you miss me here, it may be a bit tricky. So don't lose me here, especially for those of you who are new to this whole thing. Okay, don't lose me here. Don't miss me here. Okay, don't miss me here. Okay, now in the context of change in a business context, you discover that there are different parties involved, like you have right here. You discover that there are different parties involved. There is the customer, project leader, engineer, programmer, sales, this, operations, and it's the same thing when you go into an organization and they put you on a change or put you on a project. You will be involved with different parties. Now, hold on. Now, because you are involved with different parties can have different idea of what the solution should be. And you don't want that. You want a collective idea, a collective understanding, an unanimous understanding of the solution and the problem. Are you getting me? Huh? You want an unanimous understanding of the problem and the solution. Not everybody understanding it just like you see the way the project leader understood it. This one understood it. That one understand it. This one understood it differently. You don't want that. No, you don't want that. All right? You don't want that. So you can see that different parties are involved. And these parties, they will need to align on the change. They will need to align on the solution. They will need to align on the approach. They will need to align on all other ingredients that mold this change. It's like you're getting it now. You're getting it now. Okay? So these parties will come together on what is called a project. Yes, because that is what they call it in the organization. They don't call it change. They don't say, I want to put you on a change. No, you don't hear that. Although it's a change, but they don't say, I want to put you on a change. They say, I want to put you on a project. Is that not it? Yeah, for those of you who have BA friends, they will tell you. Okay? Which is a sequence of tasks that you need to complete to get a certain outcome. That outcome is the change. So they put you on a project, these people on the project to pursue the change. Question. Who will help these different parties align on the components of the change? Who will help them align on the components of the change? Who will help them align on the difficulties, on what should remain, on the features to work on the pain points, on the product, on the problem, on what we should do, on the process, on the need, on the steps involved, on what is changing, on the solution, on the opportunity, on what should be done now, what should be done later? Who is going to align these guys? Now, I know some of you are very, you are very vast. In fact, you are in the industry already. And some of you may say, oh, it's not the BA. Some of you may say it is the project manager. But don't worry, I would explain that to you. You are right. You are right. But you see, the real title of this guy is called the business analyst. And this is where I'm going to now kick off to help you understand what business analysis is, such that if you wake up from sleep, okay, you are able to tell exactly what business analysis is. So this is the first time I'm actually using the word business analyst on my slide. So it then becomes important and paramount to help you understand exactly what this is. Are you ready? Let's take it light. So let me help you understand business analysis. Okay, so we are here now. Don't lose me here. So I gave you a prelude so that you can begin to form an idea. You see, I gave you a prelude so that you can begin to form an idea in your mind, okay, about who this person is. Does that make sense? And then it then becomes easier for me to pass my message across to you. Is that okay? So that's what I've done. Now that I've done that, I now want to take you to the textbook, because I know a lot of you like textbook. You like textbook. You like textbook. So let me take you to the textbook. All right. Let me take you to the IIBA Babok Guide, version 3.0. What is IIBA? IIBA is the International Institute of Business Analysis, and Babok is the acronym for Business Analysis Book of Knowledge. Okay. Now, you have this guide that you use for your certification exams. It has gone through 3 installments, like version 1, it was revised. In version 2, it was revised, and then version 3. So you have IIBA Babok Guide version 3.0. Do you understand that now? So that is the place I went to. It is a well-known literature, okay? Especially in this sphere of business analysis. It's a well-known literature, okay? That is where I got this definition of business analysis. That business analysis is the practice of enabling change in an enterprise by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders. Now, if I said that and I left the call at this point, some of you will be okay. Yes, some of you will be fine. You would say, oh, that makes sense. But some of you may still need me to, expose and expatiate on that a little bit, expand on this a little bit, which is what I'm going to do without fail. So remember, my promise to you was to help you understand it in the most layman term possible. And that is what I want to do without fail. So stick with me. Do not lose me here. Now, I have identified certain words that if we decide to break it down, okay, it will help you to fully comprehend what it is that we mean by business analysis. The first of those words is something we have already trashed. It's called change. The second is enterprise. Maybe that's a new one, but not necessarily new. The third is needs. I think you came across that, right? Then solution, then value, then stakeholder. Now, if you think I'm wasting your time, please, before you jump off the call, please give me another 20 minutes. Let me explain this. After 20 minutes, you can decide to go to bed. At least after 20 minutes, I would have known that I told you something that you will not forget for the longest time. So let's go. I will take that definition and take those words one after the other and break it down. Remember, we talked about change. And I told you that change is either you are creating something new or modifying something that already exists. Don't forget. That's what I said, right? That change is something new. Now, this is not in the textbook, so please, you have to listen, right? Change is creating something new or modifying something that already exists. Take that and plug it into that definition. You're going to have something like this. That business analysis is the practice of enabling something new. So it means that as a BA, you will enable something new. It means that as a BA, when you find yourself at your workplace, one of the things you are likely to do is to enable something that is being revamped, something that is being modified. Maybe it's a process or something. You will create something new, a new implementation, or you will modify an implementation that was already done. It cannot be anything outside this thing I just told you. So you're gradually beginning to get it. Let's move to the next one. Is enterprise. Enterprise is just a big word for organization or a group of organizations. That's the word enterprise. Okay? It's the bigger word for saying organization or a group of organizations. But take a pause and think about it. Will there be an organization if there are no products? Will there be an organization if there are no processes? Would you have an organization if there are no policies? What exactly make up the organization if there are no people? And these days, if there is no technology and all other subsets of the organization. So you see that essentially what we are trying to say here when we say enterprise are the core things that make up the enterprise, which in this case will be, of course, it's right there in front of you. Products, processes, policies, people, technology, subsets of the organization. Take that, plug it into our definition, and you begin to understand that business analysis is the practice of enabling something new. Hold on, in an enterprise, right? Now, that something new can be a product of that organization. That something new can be the process or processes. That something new could be their policy. That something new could even be the people. Hold on. People. What do you mean by people? Let me explain. If you want to create a new people, quote and unquote, or modify people, training, you do training. So that tells you that the BA, when he does his work, one of the things that he may likely do with people is training on how to use a new system, or he writes a manual so that he can train them on how to use something that they just innovated or something that they just, so people is involved, sir. Are you getting it? Technology. So he's going to enable. Remember, he's an enabler. He's not the implementer. So don't mix these two things. I didn't say he's the implementer of the new product. No, that's not what I said. I said he's a facilitator. He's an enabler of something new or modifying that already exists. And these things can be either product, process, policy, people. And I told you how he modifies people is by training, okay? So that you don't think he uses abracadabra. Is by training. And then technology or other subset of the organization. So when you read it now, it will then read something like business analysis is the practice of enabling something new, a product, something new, a process, or modifying something that already exists, a product or a process or a technology or a policy, by defining needs. Oh, hold on. So you're saying that the first thing that he does, which in the picture that I showed you, they didn't do, is to first ascertain the need, define the need. Hold on. So what they're telling us there is need assessment. You have to do need assessment. If you have to create something new, the first thing is you want to understand exactly what it is that we are doing. That's the place to start. So it says by defining the needs. And I told you that the need could either be the problem they are trying to solve, the pain point, the opportunities they're trying to cultivate. Now take this and plug it back into this, our lovely definition. And then you begin to see that the business analyst is going to facilitate the process of implementing something. He's going to facilitate that process or enable it, enable something new, enable the modification of something that already exists, which could be a product, which could be a process, which could be a policy, which could be the technology, which could be the people. And I told you how he will do that with people is by training. By first defining the problem, the pain points, the opportunities. And in the process of defining these things, there's something I'm going to teach. I can't teach everything in this class, but I'm going to teach you about elicitation, requirement elicitation. He does elicitation, right? He's going to gather information, he elicits information. And he does that through different processes or different techniques, interviewing, surveys, and so many things. We're going to teach that in module 2. But let's stick to where we are now. Okay? Because I said that to say the next thing. And recommending solutions. Recommending solutions. Now, this is where some of you will now start to say, what do I know that I want to recommend solution? I don't know anything. And I want to recommend relax. It's not that difficult. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Remember, you're already at that point where you're understanding the need, you're talking with people, and I'm going to play a video for you towards the end of this class that helps you realize that. Just stick towards the end. I'm going to play the video for you. I don't want to explain the video. Let the video explain itself. So I'm going to play it for you towards the end. Okay? To help you realize that, listen, when you're a BA, you are not a solo worker. You don't work as a solo person. You work with people. So don't think that in recommending solution, you are doing it all by yourself. No. It's a sum total of all the information and data points that you've collected while defining the need. You understand that? Yeah. So by reason, let me give you an example. I worked on this project where, there's this intercept that they intercept people in the heart, right? It's kind of like a device that they put in the heart or something. That device will collect data and transmit it. And then I was building the app. I was part of the team that built the app that would collect the data. Listen, that's my first time doing, I've not done health before, right? But that's my first time doing something like that. And then I did something that had to do with diabetes and things like that, getting the data, building an application for one of the biggest health companies in the world. All right. Okay. I didn't know any of these things before. Right? I didn't know any of these things before. But then, how was I able to prefer solution? It's because when I started talking to the subject matter, to the people involved, when I started talking to them, when I started speaking with them, when I started talking to them, I started gathering information. And at the end of the day, that information that I gathered, we can all now begin to see recommendations in those information. So don't think that, listen, you are the person, you're the kind of person they call amebo. Where I come from is called amebo. You poke your nose into people's affair. Yeah. You are like a gossip. Yeah. Yeah, that's the kind of thing. It's kind of, that's the closest I can explain. I can explain this. You gather the information. You see, amebo or gossips gather information from people. Yeah. And that's how you do as a BA. You gather information from your team, from the people, from research. And then by the time you now have this information, you can then recommend solution with the rest of your team. Sniff around for info. Thank you for that English. Sniff around for info. I'll put that in part of my vocabulary. All right. So let's go. What is solution? Now, when you are looking for solution, it could be any of these things. When somebody gives you a solution, maybe they are giving you an approach. They're giving you, and some of you, so your solution is money. Don't put money there, Michael. Don't put money. Money is solution. I get you. Don't worry. The money will come. All right. But let's talk about solution in the context of, a project and all of that, right? Solution would either be an approach. How many of you get me? Yeah. So when you said recommending solution, I don't want you to overthink it. What we are talking about is you could be recommending an approach to something. That's it. Or you could be recommending a design. This is how we should go about the design. Or you could be recommending a technology. I remember one of the banks we were doing a project for one of the banks in Canada here, and they had come to us that they wanted to do a digital overhaul of their systems, but they needed to know what content management system that they will be using. I have never heard of that before. Oh, content management system. It was my first time. But guess what? I started doing research and started looking and asking questions and everything. Before you know it, I started analyzing 3 types of content management system. From the information that I gathered from them, from my people, from online, I was then able to recommend a technology, a content management system. And because you'll be given time to do these things. So your recommending solutions could be recommending an approach, recommending a design, recommending technology, recommending features, or steps in a process. Yeah. Or steps in the process. Okay. Now, if you take that and you put that in here, it will now read with everything we've said before and recommending features, steps in the process, design, approach, etc. that deliver value. What is value? What is value? Benefits. Value is benefits that deliver benefits. Okay. So when you put that in there, that deliver benefits to stakeholders. Okay, to stakeholders. Give me a minute. Okay, to stakeholders. What are stakeholders? Stakeholders are the parties involved. Thank you. Thank you, Mary. You said value is ROI. Yeah, that's benefit. ROI, return on investment. Thank you so much for that, Mary. I appreciate that. Okay. Yeah, Lauren said parties involved, and that's true. Parties involved. So the stakeholders is everybody and anybody, everybody and anybody that is affected. That's number one, affected, or that affects. So a stakeholder is not only the person that is affected, it's the person that affects. So a stakeholder is either affecting your work or your work affects the person. That's a stakeholder. So meaning that when you are doing your work, all these people are in your purview. You are trying to make sure that everybody is on the same page, both the people that will benefit from it and the people that would can destroy the work. For example, if you have a government compliance that your application need to comply to, and you are doing your work and you are just turning a deaf ear, and you don't want to take the compliance into cognizance, don't worry. When you release your application, they will hit you with a fine, £72,000. You will now pay fine. You see that? So you want to know Agbero is not involved in this one. All right. So when you put all of that together, okay. He said if it is Niger. All right. So when you put all of that together, you see that business analysis is the practice of enabling change, which is, like we said, something new or modifying something that already exists in an enterprise, which could mean their products, their processes, their policies, their technology, or all the, paraphernalias that surround, that organization, and then recommending solutions. Okay. No. I think I skipped something. By defining the needs, which could be the problems, the opportunities, the pain points, and recommending solutions. Solution could be a feature. It could be steps in a process, could be design, could be an approach that deliver value, benefits, return on investment to stakeholders, which is everybody and anybody that is affected or that affects that project. So when you see it in this light, it becomes a bit more explanatory. Moving from here, which is business analysis is the practice of enabling change in an enterprise by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders. I love this. It's simple, it's straightforward. But like I said, some people will understand it better if we move from here to the skill garage definition. Yes, you heard me right. Is the skill garage definition, because this is our definition. Nobody has this definition. If anybody shows you this definition, I can tell you for free, they took it from here. It's our definition. So business analysis is the practice of enabling something new or modifying something that already exists, like a product, like a process, like a policy. But the first thing is by defining the problems, the opportunities, the pain points, and by reason of your interaction with that information and people around you, you can then recommend features, steps in that process, design an approach that will deliver return on investment and benefits and value to everybody involved in that project. Now, when you say everybody involved, how do you bring value to a designer? By helping him understand what he needs to design. How do you bring value to the developer? By helping him understand exactly what he needs without stressing. So meaning that you're going to bring requirements to him. How do you bring value to the government? By making sure that what you're doing complies with their policy. So you see that there's a lot of components you have to put into consideration when building or working on a project. So in simple terms, listen, I just told you what business analysis is. And I'm not sure you're going to forget this in a long time. Now, if you came here as a novice, you didn't understand what business analysis was about. This is your first foray into the world of, business analysis. And this is kind of making sense to you. It's kind of coming alive to you. I want you to put yes in the chat before we proceed, before we go to the next thing, because there's a next thing. All right. So before we go to the next thing, I want you to put yes in the chat quickly. If this is clear to you, what business analysis is at this point, okay, don't think about the next thing that we're going to talk about, but what we have set up until this point. This makes a lot of sense to you. It's clear to you. It makes sense, no hidden, whatever. It's clear to you. Okay, I think we are making progress here. So we see a lot of yes in the chat, meaning that you're getting it. All right, great. Somebody said great. I like that. I like that. They say when a Canadian says great instead of okay, you're doing more than okay. All right. Yes, I see the word bravo. Thank you, Azan. All right. So in conclusion, again, because this is a master class and it's a fast one, I can't go into details of some of these things. So I'm just going to you understand? But I will give you enough that makes sense for you to be able to use it, for whatever it is you want to use it for. So in conclusion, business analysis will have some of these elements. For example, need assessment, which I told you, right? Just to assess the need, understand where the need is coming from, understand how they do things currently, try to understand where they are going to, understand the gap. And this is where you start talking about gap analysis and things like that. I don't want to go into those details, but you see, you will do some level of needs assessment. Okay? You also do some stakeholder engagement. Hey, I know what you're thinking. Oh, Michael, I am not an extrovert. I remember one lady called me. That was like 2 years ago. I remember I was in church. I can remember it vividly because I had to excuse myself and pick the call. And she was telling me, I don't think I can do this thing because I'm an introvert. I said, it's not about introvert. Don't you talk in the job that you do now? You don't talk at all. You just do. It's not as if we talk as a BA now. No, that's not it. We talk when needed. We talk when it's needed for it. And there's no job you will do, you will not talk. So I don't understand this thing. But you say stakeholder engagement. Stakeholder engagement doesn't mean that you just open your mouth. Just because I said it's like amebo, doesn't mean that every time you're going to be talking. No, you talk when you're needed. And, sometimes you may not even, the information you have is already in a document and you can do what is called document analysis. Listen, today, you know why I'm laughing? When somebody laugh that type of laugh, something is coming afterwards. I'm laughing because she has 2 jobs now, two, that is paying her almost, she works from home, that is paying her almost $250,000 in a year. She's no longer an introvert. The money has made her an extrovert. Can you see that? So listen, this is not about being introverted or extroverted. It's not about that. Trust me, it's not about that. Okay, whether you're an introvert or you're an extrovert, it doesn't matter. It's not about, money can make you become an extrovert. I reminded her the other day and I was like, do you remember the day you called me, disturbed my worship in church, and you were telling me you're an introvert? Are you still an introvert with all of this money that you're earning? Are you still an introvert? I just had to throw that in just in case you're thinking, oh, stakeholder engagement. I am not an intro, I'm an introvert. Some people are very funny, giving themselves excuses that do not exist. Then some of the other things that you would likely do is elicitation. Okay, requirement elicitation. Okay, where you would, and we'll talk more about this in module 2. okay, where you do some elicitation. There's elicitation techniques, of course, that you would have to employ. For example, survey, interviews, document analysis, and things like that. We're going to talk more about that in the main bootcamp. But you elicit requirements, okay, just to understand what they need and then confirm them, because things change. All right. There's also the part of requirement analysis. So taking that thing which you have received, that thing which you have collected, and then looking at it. Do you know how those who are gossips, when they collect information, they will ruminate on that information and try to convince themselves that this information, there is another part of the information. So they will analyze it to get, let me give you an example. So something happens on your street. The police are called in. And then this guy, he's just, or this lady, or this guy or this lady, just coming in to the street and sees that everywhere has been demarcated, right? And barricaded, rather. And then there's the police, and he's wondering what's happening. And then he comes out of the car and then goes to this person and say, what happened? What happened? And then the person said, I heard a gunshot. I had a gunshot. I think somebody died. Oh, really? Somebody died? Yeah, somebody died. I think the guy killed his girlfriend. Oh, really? Not his girlfriend. Oh, he's taking the scoop now. He's eliciting. He's gathering information. And then he's not confused. He hasn't, the thing is not there for him. He now moves to the other side of the road because people are gathered. You know, there are other people at the other side. Now, some of you think I'm describing myself. Is that not bad? Why are you thinking like that? I'm not describing myself. I'm only giving you a situation, all right, to help you understand. So don't think I'm describing myself. Okay, but if you think so, your business. All right, so he walks to the other side of the road, tries to engage somebody else and say, what happened there? What happened there? Is it true that there was a gunshot and somebody got killed? Oh, yeah. That guy, I thought that, I killed his girlfriend. What happened? Why? Do you know why? I heard somebody said she didn't put carrot in the Indomie. And he has always wanted her to put carrot in the Indomie. And that's why, poof, things got out of hand. And so at night, when this person gets home, he's like, carrot in the Indomie. Carrot in the Indomie. Is that enough to kill this person? Is that enough to shoot? So he can't take it, right? She's trying to analyze that information in her head. Carrot in the Indomie, carrot in the Indomie. I don't think so. So the next day, when they wake up, oh, hi, neighbor. Good morning, neighbor. Right? And then tries to confirm did you really know what happened yesterday? So he's trying to get more information, try to analyze that scenario because it's like it doesn't make sense to him or something. Yeah. So BAs do that. Okay. When they get information, doesn't mean that that's the end of that information. That's the end of that requirement. Sometimes you have something better out there. Sometimes you have something that is more useful. Sometimes you just have to break down that information. Okay, so analysis is involved, right? And in the process of analysis, you may need to document. Of course, documentation is a huge deal. Now, if you go back to that picture that I showed you initially, you'd see that there was no documentation at all. There was no documentation. One of the reasons why the project failed. Let's go back there. There was no documentation. Empty, crickets. No documentation. So you can imagine if there was a BA here who tried to do the need assessment and gather an elicit requirement from this guy to confirm it, and then documented it after analyzing it and shared that documentation to the project leader, to the engineer, to the programmer, to the sales guy. Don't you think they will all be on the same understanding of what needs to be done? They will all have a shared, unanimous, same understanding of what needs to be accomplished. That way, this BA would have enabled the change. So that is what I'm trying to help you understand, guys. Okay? All right, so let's go on. I'm almost there. Let's go on. So traceability and monitoring. So we need to be able to trace that, oh, this thing you're talking about or this requirement actually stemmed from an actual need, came from an actual need, right? Okay? And of course, things can change from time to time. Market conditions are changing. So maybe that requirement may change. So you need to update that requirement and make sure that they have the updated requirement. Then there's solution evaluation that has to do with testing, verifying if what they have implemented is actually what you asked for. Does that make sense? All right. So business analysis can involve any of this. I know at this point you're like, I've heard so much about business analysis. Please leave me alone. Don't worry. There's one more thing. I want to tell you who is a business analyst. Now, I get you. Michael, I already know who a business analyst is. You've explained this thing, and I think I know. But there's something that I want to show you in this definition, and it's very important. And this is where I tell people that you don't know what you don't know until you know what you don't know. It's simple. I said that to say this. I've heard a lot of people say, but I don't have experience. I have zero experience. And that is it's legit, it's okay. But the reality is, when I look at it, that's not really the case. For some of you, yes, really, 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 we may not be able to get any experience from you. So you have to go through our work experience so that you can gain experience, right? But for so many of you, and I'm repeating it, for so many of you, I can tell you that you have experience. You're the only one who do not know. So this is where I want you to listen to me properly and listen to me carefully. According to the IIBA Babel Guide, that same textbook, a business analyst is any person who performs business analysis tasks, no matter their job title or organizational role. So if you gathered requirements, elicited, try to recommend something or do a couple of things, it's saying that if you did business analysis task, even if they didn't give you that job title and you were just called customer service, it says that you are a BA, as long as you did a BA task. Okay, that now brings a fresh revelation to us. Yeah, that's interesting. So you mean, Michael? Yeah. On the basis of this, you can boldly claim some things. On the basis of this, you can boldly claim some things on the basis of this. So listen carefully. Now, let me show you a couple of things. For example, if you've driven change, but you were not called a BA, you improve business process, you are not called a BA. You help to launch a product or service. You improve current state of a product or service, or help the business to maximize profit and save costs, and made the process more efficient, or help the business gain competitive advantage, or you recommended solutions to a prevailing business problem, or you help the business maximize opportunities by entering a new market. And this is just 9 out of so many. There's a lot more. I just put 9 in front of you. There's a lot more. You are a business analyst. You are the only one who does not know. And that is where mentorship plays a huge role. In fact, I'm going to show you a CV. I'll show you a couple CVs, because one of the things I want to show you in these 2 days is to show you that there is the place of leveraging experience. And there's also something I want to drop in your mind. There's a seed I want to drop in your mind. Okay? There's a seed I want to drop in your mind. Why do I call it a seed? Because I'm not going to say too much about it. I'm just going to drop it and move. Yeah, wicked, eh? I'm just going to drop the seed and move. So it's a seed I'm going to drop in your mind. And the first seed I want to drop in your mind is this, before I take you back, is who told you that the best yardstick for measuring work experience is years? Who told you that? Who told you that? I just want to drop that in your mind. I want you to think about it for a minute. Who said? Because I have done my research. I did my research. In the boot camp, the final week, I do a 3-hour session, 2.5-hour session, just teaching about work experience. So I know I've done my research. I have slides on this. But I want to put it to you now. And I want you to go and think about it. Who told you that the best yardstick for measuring work experience is years or time? Is there no other factor that contributes to work experience? That's the first seed I want to drop in your mind. The second seed I want to drop in your mind is that even the people who defined experience, I did not define it. I explained this. There are 3 definitions of experience, but we only use 2 when looking for a job. What happened to the last one? I'm not going to explain more than that. I told you I have a teaching on this one. It's extensive. Okay? All right? It's extensive of work experience, and it will blow your mind. It's not everything is on YouTube. Some things you have to pay for it. Okay? It's going to blow your mind. All right? Now, I want you to go and Google this. I did not write this, but Google it. Look at the 3 definitions that you have there of experience and tell me, why are we focusing on just an aspect and not focusing on another aspect? So who told us, who sold us that view, okay, that work experience is measured solely by time? Maybe you still don't understand me. I'll give you an analogy tomorrow. So I'm just giving you a reason to come to class tomorrow. So I'm going to give you 2 different analogies tomorrow just to buttress my point. Tomorrow, let's make it a date. Remind me. I will give you 2 different scenarios just to explain what I'm telling you right now. I'll give you 2 scenarios. I'm going to stop at that. Let's get back to our business analysis. I just wanted to drop that with you, because some of you are going to say, I don't have experience. I don't have this. But that's not the reality. That's not what I do see. I've been doing this for more than 3 years, so that's not what I see. Most of the time, I see experience. For example, Nosa, one of my students. I remembered when we were doing the one-on-one, he told me there was this thing that I did in the bank while I was at the bank, and we did with one of the universities, and the students had to, kind of use their ATM card as their identity card. Huh? And he just said it in passing. He said it like it was nothing. He said it like it was nothing. I said, repeat it, repete. I said, repeat it. Repeat it. He told me that this is what he did. And I was like, hold up. You did that? And then we took it, and then we expanded it and exploded it. When he finally looked at the whole thing, he couldn't believe that was what he did. Yeah. And some of you are in that shoes, where the experience you had from finance, from the bank, from being a lecturer, I used my first BA job was from my lecturing. Yes. And I'm going to tell you about it later. I know some of you are my students here. You already know what I'm talking about. You've already heard me talk about it. My first job was my first BA job was me talking about an experience as from the university. How did I do it? You see, that's where mentorship is huge. And the way we define mentorship here, let me help you. The way we define mentorship here, before I go on, let's go to the skill garage. It's one of the first things you see here. You'll see it here. Mentorship is the 3rd slide. It goes on very quickly. Mentoring is it's a brain to pick, an ear to listen, and a push in the right direction. That is what mentorship is. It's an ear to listen. It's a brain to pick and a push in the right direction. That's what mentorship is. Because I've been here for a longer time. I know what it is that you don't know. It's as simple as that. Yeah, it's the truth. It may sound braggadocious, but it is what it is. We know the terrain. We've been there. So is every other mentor out there. They'll know the terrain, and that's what mentorship is about. You can do all you want to do by yourself. It's fine. And you can navigate the road path by yourself. But there's also the path of mentorship. And this is where, we begin to help you realize some things like this. Are all cases like this? No. Don't get me wrong. Okay? But there are specific cases that can actually be translated. And several of my students just like that. Okay, get back on track. Let's get back on track here. So quickly, if you look at this, driven change, improve business process, help to launch a new product, improve the current state, help the business to maximize profit, made the process more efficient, and help the business gain competitive advantage, recommended solutions to prevailing business problems, help the business maximize. Now, there are about 9 things here. Now, give yourself a score. I just want to have a feel of the people in the class. Now, if you've done 1 out of these 9, put 1 over 9. If you've done 2, put 2 over 9. If you've done 3, put 3 over 9. If you've done 4, put 4 over 9. If you've done 5, put 5 over 9. If you've done 6, I want you to put that in the chat. Now, if you've done nothing, don't worry. I got you. All right. So if you've done 0, don't just put 0 over 9. It's okay. Okay. If you've done nothing, just put 0 over 9. Okay. I've got you, because we have, as part of our program, we help you to gain the experience, right? We also help you gain that commensurate work experience on the side, right? So I can see 9 over 9. I can see 1 over 9. I can see 0 over 9. So that's fine. Okay. With the 0 over 9, you can actually do one of our projects or 2 of the projects and gain experience, right? 5 over 9, 7 over 9. I see another 0 over 9, which is fine. And sometimes these people that say 0 over 9, when I sit down with them, you will find out that they have Babala experience, crazy experience. All right, 7 over 9, 0 over 9. So you can see that some of you already have done 1 or 2 things within this, within the sphere of business analysis, and that makes a lot of sense. So good one. Thank you guys for, responding to that. Okay, so let's quickly begin to, touch on a few things, and then we can move on to some other things, and then we can begin to wrap this up and prepare for tomorrow. Is that okay? All right. Okay. So roles and responsibilities of a BA. I see that questions are coming in already. I can see some people in the chat, they've asked some questions, and I'm going to answer those questions. So please put it in the chat. Oh, some people are not actually asking questions. They're using the Q&A as their chat bot, their chat box. Okay, that's fine. You know what? Okay, so I have one question. Don't worry, I'm going to answer that question later. So let's begin to just, finalize this. So a business analyst will do 1 or more of these things. Okay, when they call you a business analyst, you will do 1 or more of the things in front of you. Okay, justify the need. What do you mean by that? Like, justifying the need means that you will decide for us, or you will help us to, you will tell us whether this thing is good for us to pursue. Should we pursue it? Should we do it? Should we get into it? You see? Aha. All right. So justify the need, define the need. All right. You define the need, you manage stakeholders, you facilitate meetings, you gather requirements, elicit requirements, you question and challenge requirements. Aha. Yes. Because sometimes the person that is asking you to do something may not know what is best for them. And you have a superior information that is actually best for the business. You may want to challenge them as to why they are looking in that direction. You see? So it's not as if you just go and collect things hook, line, sinker. You go with the part of your brain still working. All right? So you can question, challenge, confirm requirements, you can analyze requirements, you can document requirements, you will communicate requirements, you will help your team and stakeholders understand the requirements, you will monitor the requirements, you will test solution. Okay, sometimes you'll be involved in testing. I'm going to talk about that later. You can be involved in testing. I know there are some people that do testing separately, but you can be involved in testing to ensure that what they've built or what they've implemented actually meets the requirements. And of course, what else are you there for? To enable a successful change. So that actually helps us to understand what business analysis is, who a business analyst is, and I've shown you exactly that you could actually be a business analyst without knowing, from your previous work, from your previous skill set, from the previous things you've done. And then I showed you the responsibilities and the role of a BA. At this point, we'll take a pause. And if there are any questions, I want to take those questions now before going to the core competencies of a business analyst and then introducing the software development lifecycle. So that's kind of like the two things we're going to do tonight. And then tomorrow when we meet again, we will take that a step further. Now, what does implementing mean? Okay, implementing means, building or getting it done. So for example, if I said that you implemented the product, it means that you built the product, all right? You got it done. That's what implemented means. The implementers, so when I talked about the implementers, could be like the designer, because they're the ones that will do the work. Okay, you are not an implementer. You're not the one, building the product or changing what needs to change in the process. You're the one gathering the information that will translate into that. Okay, all right. So I've answered that question. The next question here is now for those of you raising your hand, are you raising your hand to ask a question? Let me know in the chat. I see 2 hands up. Are you raising your hand to ask a question? I could unmute you, but I want to be sure that that hand was raised for questions, right? And then I could take the questions. Now, are BAs supposed to be technical in terms of knowing SQL or coding skills, right? Okay. Now, when it comes to business analysis, in fact, the first task that I give you on the BA class, the first project or the first thing I tell you to do for me is to go and look at 40 job descriptions of a BA, of a typical BA role. Yeah, I ask you to go and look at 40 job descriptions of a typical BA role. Okay, 40 job descriptions of a typical BA role. Why do I ask you to do that? Why would I want to put you? Listen, when I was doing my transition into BA, I actually studied way more than 200 roles. So I'm not punishing you by doing that. Now, I'm saying that because I want to answer this question. Now, I know you've heard a lot of things about BA and all of that. Now, in the bootcamp, I'm going to, in the first week, which you're also welcome to join us in the first week. I talk about, let me gather my thoughts again. In the BA, I talk about the different types of business analysis roles. All right. So there's the generalist BA, there's the technical BA, right? Okay. And there's the like tool specific BA. Let me break that down for you. Now, the generalist BA is this guy that can do everything that has to do with just enabling any change, right? He gathers requirements, he documents those things, he uses the tools he needs to use. He's not the techie guy, all right? But he knows how to go about it using his RACI matrix, which I usually explain in week 1. I explained that in week 1. So by next week, please join. You don't need to pay before you join. Okay, I'll teach you all of these things. All right, so just to answer your question. Now, there are multiple BA roles. When you're done with this program, I can tell you for free that you will not be able to apply for all the roles. And the reason is simple. It's because out of 40 jobs, 20 of those jobs is generalist. 10 of those roles are more specifically tilted towards some technical skills. And then another 10 of those roles are tool specific. For example, Salesforce, ServiceNow. You have ServiceNow BA, Salesforce BA, meaning that on top of what you know as a generalist, you need to know ServiceNow. Are you getting it? Then you have the ones that are very technical. On top of what you know as a BA, you need to know some things about, technical implementation. Okay? And then there are some other ones where, like the one that one of my students just went for an interview today. They will need you to know some 1 or 2 data skills like SQL and all of that. But the bulk of the roles are generally, they are generic BA roles. So what does that mean? You do not need to know how to code. You do not need SQL to be able to become a BA. No, you don't. However, if you want to move from being qualified for 20 jobs and you want to now be qualified for 25 or 30 jobs, what does that tell you? It means that on top of what you know, you need to add some more skill. Because in tech, the more, the merrier. The more you know, the merrier it gets. Listen, you are trying to get your foot in the door. So by the time you understand the basics, you're already at the position where you give yourself a 50 to 60% chance to get it. And listen, we told you that this is a walk in the park. There is still work to be done. Now, on the bootcamp, we give you a course called, you don't have to pay for it. We give you a course called, Power BI, SQL, and Excel. So you can learn data, right? Power BI, SQL, and Excel. The reason is because you can add that skill on top of what you already learned in the bootcamp and become more proficient and exposed for these roles. Okay, but you don't need it to get a job. You can start from the generalist and then begin to build from there. So no, you do not need coding skills. You just need to know whom to ask questions. And for SQL, of course, if you want to learn that, you can learn that because you want to expand your opportunities. But that does not mean that you need to know it before you can get a job. I hope that explains it, right? Good. Okay, let's go to the next question. Is tech compulsory to the BA? No. But, tech is not compulsory to the BA, but you need to understand tech. There are 2 different things. I take that again. Tech is not compulsory for you to become a BA, but understanding tech is important for you to become a BA. And that is why when you come on our program, let me show you the brochure. One of the modules, a full module, is dedicated to tech for BA, meaning that we help you to see technology and design for business analysts. So there are certain things we teach you that you would need to know, and they're not difficult, like APIs, front end, back end. You don't need to code. You just need to understand how they work. Simple. Because it's like going to China and not understanding a little Chinese, or speaking to an Igbo man without understanding a little Igbo. Understanding a little Igbo can facilitate your communication, isn't it? Yeah. So that is what this is about. So you don't need to know tech, but you don't need to be a techie person, but you need to understand certain things around tech. And this is what this module is about. I hope that helps you, right? Good. Now, for the questions that are asking me, what is the difference between this and that? I will leave that for tomorrow, because tomorrow I'm going to teach you Scrum Master. I'm going to teach you product ownership. So if you're asking me what is the difference between this guy and this guy, BA and this one, I will not answer that question today. I'll answer that question tomorrow. So keep it until tomorrow. See? All right? Because there are some things I just don't want to repeat myself. So when you're asking about what's the difference between this guy and this guy, I will answer that one tomorrow, because there are some things I'll say about that. Are PMs the same as BA, and what are the core difference between the roles? I'll answer that tomorrow. They're not the same. Okay? They're not the same. PMs manage resources. BAs enable the project to be successful, right? They are 2 different things. Now, does that mean that in some places PMs do not do the job of a BA? Remember that I said you can do the job of a BA without being called a BA. Like in America, for example, there are places where they are called PMs. They call you a project manager, but you're actually doing the job of a BA. So that is why most of my students do not just apply for BA roles. I tell them to look at the job description. How many of you checked our page today? There's a success story that I put up. The job is called Transport Operations Manager. But he used this BA to get it, Because when he looked at the job description, he saw that this is a BA role, but they called it transport operation manager. He got the job, 90,000. It's paying him 90,000. This was somebody that was earning how much? 30,000, 35,000. The job pays him 90,000. We posted it today. Maybe you want to check. I think we posted it today or yesterday. I think today. But it's not called a BA role. But that role is a BA role. Because I train my students to look at the job description instead of the title. Do you understand? So even when they call them PMs or POs or implementation analyst or whatever name, or sometimes change analyst, when you look at the job description, you discover that this is all that you learned. So you can begin to see where people should change themselves, thinking that the only thing they need to be looking out for is BA role. There are other things to be looking out for. You see? All right, so I hope that clears that air. But most organizations request these skills which constantly throws you off. Now, you see, these are the kind of communication that I don't like. Where is your data? Where's your data? When you say most organizations are requesting these skills, where's your data? And that is why I do not hide it. My first assignment is for you to go and look at 40 job descriptions. I want you to look at it, document it, write it, and then look at and differentiate. And then tell me how many of these 40 job descriptions ask for it. You can't just throw a statement out like that and say, many are asking for these skills. Yeah, you need to do it's the same thing when somebody tell me that many are asking for certification. And I tell them, go and look at 20 job descriptions and bring me those 20. Don't be selective. Just take the first 20 or look at the 20 job descriptions and then come back and tell me which ones have asked for certification and told you that it's a must. Because some of these things, we heard it from people and we never did our own research. Look at it. You try it. You heard it from somebody, that somebody heard it from another person heard it from another person, but you never sat down to look at it yourself, which is the same thing as this work experience thing I'm talking about. I have done my research. I've done these things. I'm very confident, and that's why I give it as my first assignment. I've never failed. In the past 3 years, at the beginning of every cohort, my students are here, they will tell you, I've never failed. It's the first assignment I give to you. Go and look at 40 job descriptions. Then look at 20 job descriptions of a product owner. Then you can come back and make this conclusion you just made. Because there's no basis for this conclusion until you show me the data. Do you understand? And I'm very confident that you'll definitely see roles that you can apply for. So don't go off with that mindset that, yes, I've not debunked the fact that there are certain roles that require certain skill sets. I've not debunked that fact. But the roles that do not require it are much more than the ones that do. So what are you talking about? And I tell my students all the time, I've spent more than 10 years in this space, and I am not in any way technical. For those of you who know me. Yes, I know technical stuff, but I'm not in any way like technical. No. Why? Because I use RACI. I will teach you that next week. RACI. You understand stakeholder is called stakeholder analysis. Okay? RACI. R, you know who is responsible. A, you know who is accountable. C, you know who should be consulted. I know who to consult when I have a technical need. That is how a BA survives. You understand who should be consulted. Do you understand? Understand? So I'll keep it at that and we can explain more next week. Do I have to get CBAP before I get a job? No. That one I don't even need to explain too much. I will tell you more about that maybe tomorrow. Okay? Certification. Just ask me anything about certification. I will tell you about that tomorrow. All right? You don't need a CBAP. You can ask me that tomorrow. I'll tell you with data. I will tell you with proof. Okay? I'll tell you with data and with proof. And then you can go and do your own research and come back. But I'll give you that one with data. That one is a small thing. No, because again, in this space, I'm saying I've seen students come in and go out. I've seen students get job. More than 85% of the students that get a job on this platform actually get a job before they get a certificate. And even the ones that have the certificate don't even get the interviews. So there is no correlation between I have a CBAB and I get a job. Now, but let me make an exception. If you are trying to work for the government, this is the exception, because I've been in this space. If you're trying to work for the government, especially for those of you in Saskatchewan, all right? For those of you in Saskatchewan, if you're trying to work for the government, now you need certification. You need CBAP. Outside that, you see all these other companies really don't care. No, they don't care. And you just need to beat the ATS. You just need to beat the ATS. And there's a way to do it. Even when you don't have a certificate, there's a way to beat the ATS. Even when you don't have a certificate. Yeah. So don't carry that mentality of, the job market. So, is there a demand for BAs in non-profit? Now, why would you want to just focus on non-profit? That's my question to you. Somebody's asking, is there a demand for BA in non-profit? My question is, why do you just want to focus on non? You're trying to break into a new industry. Won't you just throw yourself around? Why are you trying to push yourself into one space like that? There is demand, but that demand may not be sufficient for you to be able to, ATS is application tracking system, in case you don't understand that. Application is what the HRs use. Okay, so that person who asked me, is there demand in, my question to you is, why do you want to focus on just non-profit? Is it that that's where you want to just focus on? Is that like your destiny or something? I mean, you want to break into a new, I don't, it's just like somebody saying I'm in the bank. So because I was in the bank, I only want to do BA in the bank. No, now you are limiting yourself. And these are some of the things that I tell you during the CV clinic and all of that. You don't limit yourself. You're trying to break into a new industry. You go wild. You go wild. And I will tell you more about that tomorrow, because like our program, for example, covers business analysis, covers Scrum Master, covers product ownership. So when you're going to the market, you're not going as a BA alone. My students don't come back and say, no, they're not just a BA. They can apply for product owner roles, Scrum Master roles, product manager roles. Yeah, because they do this already. They do it already. So don't limit yourself. This is not just a BA course. It's, for the lack of a better word, we just call it Business Analysis Bootcamp. We do much more than that. So the things that you're not able to get as a result of not being technical or not being this in the BA role, you get it and you make up for it in the product owner space. You make up for it in the Scrum Master space. You make up for it in the product manager space. If you throw yourself that out, listen, in fact, let me shock you. Let me shock you. In the current market, so you have to move where the trend is going. In the current market, I can tell you categorically that nobody is looking for just anybody that is I'm a BA. No, you have to be a BA, Scrum Master, product owner, know some product management. In fact, even some project management on top. In this present market. Yes. And that is why we are doing everything in one. So that when you move into the market, you are able to be all these things. You are trying to just focus on BA. I understand. Yes. But you have to be, because, listen, and I tell this, there's never been a time I was a BA that I was not a Scrum Master. It's funny, right? But it's true. There's never been a time that I was a BA and I was not a Scrum Master. There was never been a time. Because companies are looking for how to save cost. Because they know that with AI, you can do your work easily. So they will just carry the work of even quality assurance, testing. We teach it, yeah. We teach you testing, how to write test cases. We teach you on this course. Then give you a free data course. Why? Because people are looking for a combination of these things. So don't think it's just BA, no. That's when it becomes frustrating for you if you are just focusing on BA. Yeah. You don't have to just focus on BA. And that's the essence of tomorrow's class. So tomorrow I'm going to tell you where a Scrum Master is. I'm going to tell you where a product owner is. And I'll begin to help you see the co-relationship. All right? So you don't need to sit just and say BA. BA, Nadia, I won't die. No. You have to spread. You have to go wild. You understand? Yeah. Even me, if I go into the market and I throw my application around. If I throw 100 applications, I may likely get maybe 10 or 15. That's how the market is today. Do you understand? That's how the market is. Listen, the time I came to Canada, customer service job is like this. Even a customer service job, you could get it like this at the snap of a finger. Then I remember my wife used to write Walmart exams for people and they would just get the job. It was like this. Now, people are getting rejection for customer service job. Rejection. I'm telling you the fact. Yes, people are getting rejection. Like, I mean, they've always gotten rejection, but the rejection is now more. They're getting rejection for customer service job. Think about it. And you're saying you shouldn't be competitive on a BA job. You should just sit there. Yeah, customer service, cashier jobs are rejecting people now. Because things are changing. AI is here. You have to have a combination of skill set. And that is why this course has been modified to ensure that it's not just BA you're looking at. It's not just PO you're looking at. It's not just Scrum you're looking at. That is how you win in the market, sir. So don't think, and it's not a work in the park. Trust me, it is not. It's not. All right. So please don't just limit yourself to nonprofit. Please, spread. Please, who is responsible for implementing? Oh, designers, developers, they are responsible for implementing. Okay, we'll talk more about that. Most jobs will say it's a plus. It's quite frustrating. How would one navigate that? It's a plus, it's simple. And if you don't have it, there's a way to do it. There's a way to include it just to be the CTS. Now, the most important thing that you need to realize is it's not the recruiter that is hiring. It is the hiring manager that is hiring. So all you just need to do is beat the recruiter and get in front of the hiring manager. Yeah, and there's a way to do that. All right. What's ATS? ATS is the application tracking system. All right, so that is that. There's some things I can't tell you, of course, because there's some things that definitely you have to pay for. I can't just tell you everything for free. At least we're doing our best to make sure you get the best, of your time, right? But there are some things I can just, throw out like that, All right, but there are ways to get past these things, right? Okay. Especially if you don't have, for those of you who think it's a certification that is a problem and you don't have the money to write a certification right now, okay? Just beat this ATS first and get in front of the employer. That's all you need so that they can see the person they will hire. Because at the end of the day, it's not the certification they will hire. Yeah. You see that? All right. Okay, so before we go to the next thing, let me say a few things about the class, okay? All right, so let me tell you how you can sign up for the class, and then we'll go on and continue talking about the competencies of a BA. Oh, but there's this one thing that just came in. There are hardly any jobs that require only one expertise, definitely, of course. And they are looking for business analytical service, now product manager, Avenger, thought manager. Okay, I think he's just trying to make the point, make a valid point there, that you need multiple skill set, okay? Yeah, beyond your BA, you would need to add on top of that, this, on top of that, that, all right? Listen, it's not a walk in the park, and I must tell you the truth. I'll be deceiving you if I sat down here and told you that it's an easy thing. Yes, it's easy. The job itself is easy. It's a walk in the park. No, it's not a walk in the park. It's work. Now, because I've seen different sets of people. I've seen, in fact, one of the highest paid guy on our program, okay, the guy that has he's the highest paid right now because he earns from one job, he earns $208,000 from one job. Yvonne, okay, $208,000 from one job, right? He got a job in the 5th week of the program. Now, will I come here and now tell you that you're going to get a job in the 5th week? No, it's not true. I won't come here and say that. I'll be deceiving you if I did that. Yes, we've had some people get a job within the 10 weeks of the program. And we have some people that got a job After a year. Now the question is, what did they do and did not do? You see? All right. Some people I noticed, like I remember this girl, there's this particular girl. I noticed that each time she did an interview prep, she was having interviews. But each time she did interview prep, we will not hear anything again. I was becoming concerned because most of my students, they either get the job in the first interview, and I'm not kidding here. They either get the job in the first interview or by the third interview. By the time then they count 3 interviews. I think if you attend like 3 interviews, you should get 1. At least I know that. The average. Worst case scenario, 5 interviews. But most of the time, at least 40% has been the first interview. Okay. But this one has been having interviews. It's not 1, it's not 2, it's not 3. I was concerned. I was like, do you know your next interview, can you record it for me? That's what I told her. I said, your next interview, please, can you record it? Can you record it for me, please? So she recorded the interview for me. Shut up. When she played the interview, or when I played that interview, and you see, that's my issue with people who said they've done a training, because she came from she said she has done a training, she just wants coaching, and it was my friend that brought her, so she didn't go, and when you want to tell those kind of people, they carry their shoulder up, they say they know it, they don't want to listen to you. And I think, that was what she was trying to do there, being defensive. I know this thing, I've done it, I've done 2 programs. So she didn't want to listen to me. When I listened to the interview, oh boy. I said, can you hear what you're saying on the call? If you are the one, will you hire yourself? And she has PMP. She has CBAP. She has all those things. I said, will you just sit down and listen and do the things I'm asking you to do? Because sometimes we are not responsible for what happens to you because we have given you everything we can ever give you. We just need to now start pruning you and holding you, and which is one of the things that people need, and hand holding you. Only if you will listen. Finally, she listened. And then she started getting better with her interviewing skills. And now she has a job. She has a job. Okay? So, sometimes what I can tell you is, especially if you are, for those of you I'm talking to those of you that are not novice now, because I know that there are some of you on this call, you've done a training before and you are in the market, you're trying to, keep pushing. Keep pushing. I always ask my students, like, how many jobs did you apply for in a day? Don't dare tell me you applied to anything less than 10 jobs in a day. It's the truth. How can you come and face me and tell me? I had asked somebody the other day, told me that he has applied for 10 jobs in a month. 10 jobs. Oh, sorry. Bill Gates is your father. So you're waiting that we now call. No, it's competitive. So you can't apply to 10 jobs in a month. There's due diligence that needs to be done there. All right. Okay. So that is why the whole of that process, we try to help you in that process, from the training itself, okay, to the hands-on, to the clinic, to the interview prep, okay, and even up to the when you get the job. Because we did a survey last year, and discovered that one of the biggest challenges of people trying to get a job is handholding. We did a survey last year. The biggest challenge is handholding. Because something they can just wiggle their way through. Employers only employ based on what you know, not based on what you have. In all honesty, do not care about what you have. They're only interested in what you know, and what you know is what will get you the job, not certification. Oh, thank you for that, Rosemont. Right? Okay. So that is it. Will companies in Canada accept foreign certificates like the Institute of Certified Management Accountants? Just take your mind off this certificate. Certificate is not the reason why. You can have that, put it there, but it's not the reason why. Trust me, it's not. Okay, it's not. Now, if you're trying to, think that it is because of a certificate or not, just put CBAB on your certificate, all right, and put in view there. At least beat the ATS, and then go in front of a hiring manager, just to tell you that it's not about CBAB. Sometimes some of you are using one CV for 100 jobs. It doesn't work like that. There are certain aspects of your CV that are dynamic. There are certain aspects of your CV that is supposed to be dynamic, right? Meaning it changes with the type of role you're applying to. Like I tell my students, have about 3 CVs, one for BA, one for PO, one for Scrum Master. And then you can have an additional one for product manager role. So the question then becomes, Michael, how do I put all of this on my LinkedIn? Wouldn't they ask me? Or would they check? That's a discussion for another day. We'll talk about that later. I can't talk about that in this class. But I just told you one of the things that you can do, okay, if you have some training in these areas, okay? Okay, which is what a training like what we're doing is meant to give you, all right? Okay, now for those of you, before we go back into the training and then we'll continue tomorrow, for those of you who are looking to join us, so you come on the website, the Skill Garage, you come to the programs, you are US, Canada, okay? You click on this. We are starting the bootcamp on the 19th, which is next week, Friday, about this time, right? Okay. The classes are Fridays and Saturdays. Fridays, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. And then Saturdays, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. like we are having today and tomorrow. Similar, right? Okay. So that is when the classes will hold. All right. I teach the course, about 50% of the course. Coach Olutobi, who is one of our one of our wonderful coaches, right? Also teaches half of the course, right? But I teach you about work experience, and the first 5 classes, the last class about work experience and everything. I'm the one who I teach that class about work experience, LinkedIn, and all of that stuff. Okay. And this is running for 10 weeks. Okay. Typically, you undergo the training, and in the training, you will do what is called peer-to-peer kind of work, peer-to-mentor kind of training. So you go into group sessions, discussion. Sometimes you just have discussions with your mates just to understand certain concepts. Sometimes we put you in a breakout room just to get you do some work. That's how we train. So in all of these 10 weeks, you'll also be producing something. You'll be producing some work, right? Now, when you're done and you have the necessary knowledge now, all the things you've done in those 10 weeks should equip you to start looking for a job. And you can even start testing the waters after module 3. Okay? So for those of you who have made full payment, we will attend to you, for your resume and everything. Okay, for those of you who have not made full payment, you have to make full payment for you to, because of our experience in the past, so we are changing the way we do things. So for those of you who do installment, you have to finish your installment, and then we can attend to you one-on-one for your resume. Okay, so for those of you who made full payment, you can actually do what we call testing the waters. Testing the waters means you haven't finished your course, but you're actually trying to see what it means to get into the market. And some people, while testing the waters, they land a job, which is fine and fantastic. And that is how Yvonne landed a $208,000 job and is on the job till today, making waves, right? Okay. Now, after the 10 weeks, now if you go to the brochure, okay, you will then, that is when you start working on the project. Now, this brochure is very comprehensive. It shows you everything from week 1 to week 2 to week 3 to week 4 to week 5 to week 6 to week 7 to week 8 to week 9 to week 10. And then you see everything that you're going to do, everything that you're going to get, the goals of each of the classes, everything is in here. Okay. All right. Everything is in here. And then you start your project work. Okay. You get to start your project work. You have access to recordings. You do project presentations every Tuesday. Every Tuesday we have project presentations. You see other people also present, and then you learn from them. All right. You do all of these things, right? Now, I know some of you are asking, okay, so how much does it cost? How much does it cost? All right. Now, the value that we give for these trainings is a lot. The value of the training alone, from business analysis training to the product owner training, to the Scrum training, to the practicum, which is the accelerator, all right, to the career coaching one-on-one, and then we give you the video course for Power BI, Tableau, SQL, and then on the job support, even when you're making money. Put all of these things together, you can easily get a value of 13.8 from everything we give you. Point blank. Okay, but this course, you will never get to pay more than 1,890 Canadian dollars. Never get to pay. Now, that's an approximate, your bank will do the, your bank will do the approximation, especially for those of you in the US. But in Canadian dollars, it's about 1,890, right? Now, if you're doing an early bird is, and we are in the early bird phase. So the early bird is, you make a payment before we begin, okay? Meaning you look at our review online. Of course, we have a great review online. For those of you who want to check us out online, all right? We have a great review online, 202 5-star reviews, okay? From people that have gone through our classes. Now, this is someone that just finished the class a few weeks ago. You can see 2 weeks ago, all right? This is somebody that just finished the class 2 weeks ago, right? So, you can see our reviews there. So if you believe in everything we've said so far and how we intend to help you navigate this journey, and you say you want to make a payment, you are qualified for the early bird, right? Meaning you don't have to come to week 1 because week 1 is free, right? Some of you still want to come to week 1 just to see things for yourself before. That's fine, but then you will no longer qualify for the early bird. Is that okay? So you qualify for the early bird, which is 1,650 Canadian dollars, or if you're making a 3-time payment, every 30 days is going to be 580 Canadian dollars per month per installment. Does that make sense? All right. But today and tomorrow, I'm opening up a discount based on our initial pricing of 1,890. And think about it. It's a huge one. So you come to this, you come here, and then you try to make a payment. You click on this, and then you get here to make a payment. I'm going to put this in the chat for those of you who want to make that payment, and I'm going to tell you what to do. Now, for those of you making a one-time payment and you want to be a part of the course, I'm giving you a 25% discount based off our 1,890 price. And that's huge. So that's less than 1,500. That's less than 1,500. I'm thinking, let's do it. So you come in here, you use the code OFF25. Okay, use the code OFF25 for the one-time payment. So you click on that. So you're paying about 1,417. In US dollars, that would be about $1,000 or maybe 900 and something, right? Okay, so you're paying that for all of the things that I've said, which is we usually don't do this, but this is ridiculous, right? It's the first time I'm actually doing this on this kind of call. All right, so you can get a 25% discount if you're doing a one-time payment. And the reason why it is that high is because one-time payment helps us to sort out our developers. We have about 15 developers working for us, working on our projects. All right, we have about, I told you about the project going to collision, right? We have about, about 7 to 8 designers working on the different projects. I will show you some of those projects tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow I'm going to show you some of the projects that our people have worked on, interesting, wonderful projects. All right. So it's important if you can make a one-time payment that makes sense. You save more. If you're doing a 3-time payment, you're not left behind. All right. So instead of paying 580, okay, instead of paying 580, which is the early bird, because the early bird is 580. So if you look at the early bird, it's 580. So instead of paying 580 or paying 1,740, now you are paying, instead of paying 1,740 or 1,650, you are paying 1,400 for the one time. Now, if instead of paying the 3-time payment of 580, let's see what you get to pay now. We're giving you 20% discount here. So off 20. So for the first one, off 25. For the second one, off 20. You apply the code and you're paying 504. Barely 1,500. Okay, just roughly 1,500. All right. So That is for the 3-time payment. Okay, maybe 3-time payment is just too much. You want to do a 4-time payment. The 4-time payment, you get 15% discount, which is we don't usually give discount on the 4-time payment, but this time around, in the space of 20, okay, now and tomorrow, I think it's more than 24 hours, right? It expires tomorrow. Okay, it expires tomorrow. So within the space of now and tomorrow, if you're making a 4-time payment, you can use off 15. So this is 25%. This is 20%. This is 15%. All right. You apply that, and then you're paying 400 each time, each installment. Okay. And that's about 1,006. At the end of the day, you'll be paying about 1,006 for this course. So again, you can take advantage of that. I'm going to put the codes in here, and I'm going to put it on the Telegram group. So if you're making a one-time payment, you use off 25. If you're doing a 3-time payment, okay, 3-time payment, you use off 20. And if you're doing a 4-time payment, okay, payment, you will get off 15. You get 15% discount. All right, so that's how you get to sign up and enroll. And again, feel free to join us in the week 1. Our week 1 is usually open. You don't need to make payment before, but remember that if you're joining the week 1 for free, then you will not have access to the discounts that we are already giving. And this particular one we're giving is a special discount between now and 11:59 p.m. tomorrow. Okay, so please take advantage of that if you're looking to come on our course. All right, now let's get back to what we were saying. Yes, so tax is inclusive. We don't charge you tax. All right, you can see there's no tax here. Everything is included in the price. All right, so it's not as if you're going to add tax on top of that. So taxes, you can see what you see here is what you pay for. All right, there's no taxes included in this. So at the end of the day, when you think about it, you're actually paying much less, right? Because we are going to account for tax on our end, right? So this is tax inclusive. So thank you for bringing that up, Kim. So all the payments you see here is tax inclusive. There's no, the 13%, everything is included inside of that. So this is not plus tax. It is tax included. All right. So when you do off 20 here and you do this, what you see here is inclusive of the tax. So you're not going to be doing plus 13%. No, everything is included. So it means that the real value at the end of the day that you're making payment for is less 13%. If you do the math, that's around 400, 390 that you're paying. Okay. All right. So let's get back to here and get back on track. Okay. All right. So we've talked about business analysis. We talked about all of these things. Let's remember that these are some of the things that I said I was going to do today. I may not be able to get into software development, but tomorrow we will do that. Okay. So what are the core competencies for a business analyst? Core competencies of a business analyst. Now, when we say core competencies, I am not saying that you cannot be a BA without these competencies. I'm saying that you can be much more. You can be more efficient as a BA when you have these competencies. Now, I have handpicked a video for you to watch. The reason why I love this video is because of the way, oh, sorry, I have 2 hands up. Tanjib and Nonyewa or something. Sorry if I didn't pronounce your name properly. Are you looking to, you want to ask a question, Tanjib? I can unmute you. Do you want to, I've unmuted you. Sorry if I missed you. I've unmuted you. Do you want to ask a question?
Oh, no, please. That was a long time ago.
Okay. But is your question answered?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Just want to be sure that I didn't miss you. So I'm going to lower the hand then. I don't know. Sorry if I didn't get your name right. Aika, is Aika Nonyenwa Aika. I'm unmuting you if you want to ask a question. So go ahead and ask a question. I'm unmuting you. Aika, I see your hand has been up. I don't want to miss you. Okay, you're not saying anything. So I guess that you're not asking a question. Okay, so I will disable this. Okay, I guess you're not asking a question, so I'll lower your hand. All right. So Hugh, let me go back into the Q&A box. How much is this, please? Okay, I think I already mentioned how much it is for you guys. Okay, there's one more hand. I will take the last one, and then I'm unmuting you, Zoom user. I don't know your name. You're called Zoom user. Do you want to ask a question? I'm unmuting you right now.
Thank you. I just want to know um, if I'm to put in for business analysis or
Yes.
for the product management. With what you just said now, it seems I can easily get what I needed in product management in the program of business analysis.
Okay. So
That's just what I just want to confirm.
what was the question here?
That is it still the same thing? Because with what you just described, is it still the same thing if I applied for the business analysis rather than going into
It's not the
project
same thing. On
management?
our programs, it's not the same thing. Now, I can show you our product management course, and it is taught by an expert in the field. I don't teach it. I can teach you, but I don't teach it because I give it to the guy who in fact, right now, the guy who teaches the product management for us, he's the head of product for MoneyGram. He's worked with Facebook. He's worked with, he had this thing with Google. So worked with, I think they call them Softy something. He has worked with Facebook, MoneyGram, Eventbrite, and he's the group product manager. So he has an approach that I like, and he has taught in product school. You know, product school where they charge you about $6,000 for. Yeah, he teaches there. All right. So the approach, what he does is a full cycle from the product to go to strategy to all of that stuff. He does it perfectly. He does it, and he does a brilliant job. So it's different now. But when you come on the business analysis course, you can have an idea of product management from an execution perspective on the project. We will teach you some parts in the product ownership, because product ownership and product management sometimes is intertwined, right? So when we teach you product ownership, I'm going to teach you product strategy, but not in depth. I will teach you product road mapping. Of course, for product road mapping, in depth or not is the same thing. I'll teach you product vision, all right? I'll teach you all of those things. Do you understand? But in the product management course, it's much deeper. Do you understand? Now, in the business analysis course, you will do that on the project. You will do more of the product management on the project than in that. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So
Yeah. Thank you.
Somebody said they see SQL training on the brochure. Let's go back here. With the SQL that we offer is not in the 10 weeks. So you won't see any SQL here, right? You won't see any SQL here. You will see SQL as a video course. Okay, so please make sure so somebody's asking about SQL and Power BI and all of that. So I'm going to show you that. So this is a video course. Now, sometimes we do this about twice in a year, right? Where Olugbemi helps us, but Olugbemi has been busy, so I can't promise you anything on that one. It's usually free anytime it happens. But last year we did it 3 times, but I'm not promising anything to anybody. So let me just make that clear. But we have the video course from the previous years, right? We can give you that. Now, Olugbemi has not been free to help us do this, because we have to pay him also for it and get him, and we trust him to get it done for us, right? So if we have the opportunity to do that sometime within the year, we will do it. But again, it's not a promise, right? Here. It's free for all of our candidates whenever we get to organize it. But what we can promise you is the video course, where we have the Power BI. You have, okay, you have the power. I can show you what I'm talking about. So you have the video course. Give me a minute, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So you get access to the video course, this one, the data training, the Power BI, the SQL, and what we've done in the past on this. So this is what you get access to. We've done this previously. And then we can, so Excel, Power BI, Tableau, SQL, this one, you get access to it. And then the Power BI case study with the Olugbemi, you'll get access to this one. All right. But when it comes to the live session, we'll have to arrange that with Olugbemi, but we do not sell this course based on that. So meaning what that means is that in case you don't have a data live training, you can't come and say, oh, Michael, but you said you promised us. No, you can't, because everything that we say is what we want to give you. So I want to be clear on that. So just thank you for that. So thank you, because I need to make that clear that what you get is a video course, but along the line, we can decide, okay, we have enough capital, we have enough money to do free training, because we do a lot of free trainings. For those of you who know us, we do a lot of free trainings for those that come on our platform. And when we do those training, we don't charge our students for them. We don't. Okay. All right. So I hope that is clear. Okay. So let's get back on here. And then we can call it a wrap. I'm going to talk about the competencies of a BA, and then we'll call it a wrap for today. And then tomorrow we'll go into product ownership, Scrum mastering, Scrum, Kanban, and the rest of these other things. All right, so I'm going to play this video, which is where we're going to end for today, and I'm going to get a few feedback. Now, this video is a very nice video. It's a sweet video. And I love the way the lady has expressed a couple of things in this video about, competence. And I want you to pay rapt attention to what she says. Now, each time she talks about the day in the life of a BA, it's interesting to me because she hits every facet of what you need to understand from a BA perspective. So please listen attentively, and you'll be able to gain or see one or two skill sets that is relevant for you being a BA. And not just that, you begin to see certain things that I think I have said here before, but you just need to hear it from another person. Things like certification, okay? Things like being technical and things like that, right? All those things, you're going to hear it from her. And she's giving you a vivid representation of what it means to be a BA. So please listen and take some notes, because I'll be asking you what you actually learned, okay? Or what you heard. Please listen.
Kia ora, I'm Gemma. I'm a business analyst and I work for Red Vesper in Wellington. Business analysts solve problems. We help organizations to change up their people and culture or their business processes. People deal with stuff. They work around problems that they shouldn't have to. So the job of a business analyst is to make other people's lives easier. We help to get to the basics of what the business actually needs to work in the most effective way. It's not about having the answers readily available. It's about working with others to get that solution together. Quite a lot of big businesses have BAs. Government has a lot of BAs in it. I work for a consultancy. We often go into clients. You really get to see how different companies work. So every time I go into a new project, it's like the first day of a new job. You've got to just throw yourself in, admit that you don't know everything. And actually, part of that is admitting that the people around you know a lot more. And pulling on those knowledgeable people is a really good way to get involved. Having someone show you through what they do really highlights to them where things could be more user-friendly for them. Is often a really good time to ask, why are you doing it that way? Why? It's that toddler kind of mindset of being so inquisitive. It might be that they've never thought about it. It's just the way that it's always been done. Actually, that is something that we could make more efficient or more effective. To ask what they do and how it works for them often gets you to the point where you can see a lot of where the problems lie. Building relationships is a really important part of my job. Listening to people and really getting engaged in what's going on for them. It just makes it so much easier to have those conversations that are often quite difficult because it's about changing the way someone works and changing someone else's outlook on whether there's a problem. After a while, the awkwardness kind of disappears. So business analysts are often the translators between the customer and the developer of the solution. So that could be talking to customers, and that might be the people doing the job or the end customer of an organization, to understand exactly what they need, and then working with the developer of the solution to understand how we can make something work to solve those problems. Most BAs work as contractors, which means that they are self-employed and they go into different clients for periods of time, and then they have to find their next job. I work for a consultancy and they're responsible for finding me client projects. We get the opportunity to see so much different stuff as consultants. As a BA within a company, you're often there for a whole project and you get to see it from start to finish. But as a contractor or a consultant BA, you often come in for a small part of it, do the piece of work that needs to get done, and then hand it off to another team without seeing the whole thing through. I love variety. I thrive on it. I love being able to pick something up and make it better and then move on to the next thing. There's loads of different types of business analysts. It's really about finding what you love and letting that take you into the niche that works for you. Some of the skills you need to be a good BA is to be inquisitive and to always be asking questions. Being personable and getting on with everyone is a really kind of useful trait. Changing who you're working with and changing where you're working can often get quite uncomfortable, and you have to be happy to deal with that. You are always working in change and you're changing how other people work, and that's uncomfortable for people. So you have to be happy to manage other people's emotions as well as your own in a variety of situations. To know when enough's enough and when a solution is good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to work to solve the problem you're trying to solve. Most BAs kind of organically become BAs, so it's not so much specifically about the study that you do, more about your interest and your engagement and how inquisitive you are. I have a diploma, which I got back in the UK, and it kind of gave me the toolkit. And then there's loads of sort of specific business analysis qualifications that you can do, but they're more likely to be done on the job than before you start. I didn't know what a BA was when I took the job. And I think it's one of those things that's really hard to explain because it's so varied. The context of solving those problems and being really engaged and inquisitive in whatever you're trying to resolve is the most key thing. But the way you do that could be so different. If you're interested in the world around you and interested in making it better, I think it's a really cool role where you can make your own path. Being a business analyst gives me the opportunity to help other people to have an easier life. And I can't see anything that's more important than that.
Okay, good. I'd like to have two people. All right. Can I get two people to tell me what they learned or what they heard? What stood out for you? What did you hear? That kind of, that sounded kind of different for you. Okay. What did you hear that sounded kind of different for you? Okay. Ak Remy, thank you. And Marianne DK, thank you. And Marianne Usman. So one after the other. I think let's start with Ak Remy.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Remy. I've been listening to you from beginning. I'm an architect, and everything you've been saying, I've been taking it in from the perspective of an architect and a builder, a constructor. And coming from this video, my profession is solution oriented. That's what we go for. We go for needs and solution. However, I've seen, all through my practice and my upbringing as an architect in school, and I've seen tons and tons of maybe solution proposals that never got implemented. So my question, this lady, she said so many beautiful things, how you think about the problem and all that, but you can come up with a solution and there is no I don't know if you get where I'm going. Who implements it? Who are you the one? Is it also the business analyst, that would implement, or you still need? And at the end of the day, it still comes to funding, and then I'm just. Do you work for maybe companies that would request for you to do this analysis for them, or you are the one going out doing analysis and then searching for companies that will implement for you or something?
Okay, good one
Thank
there.
you.
So this lady is a consultant, okay? And there are different levels of consultancy, right? So there's the consultant where you work with a consultancy, and the consultancy will get the businesses. Like for me, I worked as a consultant. So that's why I am able to tell you that I worked in health, I worked in this, I worked in that, I worked in this, I worked with so many companies because I worked as a consultant, and I didn't go for them myself. The company I was consulting for actually go and get the client. It's like a job, right? But it's a consultancy. And that is what this lady is. She's a consultant in a consultancy that gets the work and brings her in as a BA. Okay, so that's her job. Now, there's another type of business analysis where you are not a consultant. For example, if you work with RBC, you're a business analyst in RBC. So you work for RBC projects. But a consultant can work on RBC project without being in RBC. Now, they will do the analysis that is involved in that project now, and then pass it on to the implementers like the designer and the developers, and work with them throughout the process of that project to ensure that that change is actualized. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that is what this lady is talking and saying from her perspective as a consultant. So she works as a consultant, but she is a BA. But giving you her experience as a consultant from that BA perspective. So yeah, does that answer what you were asking for?
Yeah. So BAs don't go out looking for the need.
No, except you have your own company. I mean,
Okay.
if you're a professional and you have your own company, of course, why not? You
Okay.
can look for works by yourself, right?
Okay.
But
All right. Yeah,
that's not where you want to start from. You want to start from getting a job.
I get that. That's clear. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you too. Okay, let's move on to Marian. What did you hear? We are supposed to be rounding up right now, so give me about 5-10 more minutes and we'll be done. Marian, give me a minute. Marian, DK, go ahead. Say something. I'm allowing you to talk. Can you tell us what one or two things that stood out for you? And then there are some more questions here. For those of you who want to stay behind, there are some questions here. I need to answer those questions before I go. Go ahead, Marian. I've unmuted you. Marian DK. I've unmuted you. Please go ahead. Marian. Okay, you're not saying anything, so I'm going to disable talking. Miriam Usman. I've unmuted you. Miriam Usman.
Hello, good evening. Thanks for the opportunity. So, something that she said that really just caught my ear was when she said she had a diploma in the UK and that most of the things she learned on the BA role was on the job. So that was actually something that really caught my eye. I mean, like, it can be quite overwhelming, all the information, but just hearing her, like, she looks like this expert that has done a lot of like jobs, and she's saying even when she gets into the role, she still has to learn something, right? It gives you that kind of encouragement that you can actually do it. So that's something that stood out for me. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Now, if just to piggyback on that, you would hear where she said, admit you don't know everything. That's a BA life for you. Honestly, admit you don't, because you're going in there to ask questions. You're going in there to collect information. So the best thing you do as a BA, they can put you on a project you don't know anything about. So you're going in there like someone who doesn't know anything. That's one of the things. How many of you heard that? That you go in like somebody who doesn't know anything and then you pull from other people. How many of you heard that? Just in case you're worried that I don't know this, I don't know that. That's not your job. Your job is to go and know it. So you're not going there as an expert, I know, I sabi. No, that's not what you're doing there. You're going to go and hear from people, collect information, it's called ameborism. Go and collect information like an amebo. And then based on the information you've collected, then we can now begin to talk about solution. So nobody is saying, come, in fact, she said, your solution even doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be working. She talked about certifications. She talked about you are more likely to do the certification on the job than before the job. How many of you heard that? You see, and all of these other things. So we're going to look more into these things. She said a lot of things, the BA being, being able to be inquisitive. I wrote down some things, okay? You can be inquisitive. You're a relationship person, all right? And, that will tell you a couple of things. And in the boot camp, I expand on all of these. I expand on all of these skill set, which is relationship building, leadership skills, facilitation skills, communication skills, problem solving skills, business skills, analytical skills. Now, technical skills. Now, when I say technical skills, I do not mean coding. When I say technical skills, what I mean by technical skills here is you being able to use the tools and the software. For example, we have software like Jira, software like Confluence, software like Draw.io, some of these technical tools that you use for your job, right? You need to learn how to use those things. So I would expand on this probably in the bootcamp, but these are some of the skill sets, some of the competencies that you may want to be looking at as a BA, and there are several other things I can mention under each of these subsets. Now, that is where I'm going to draw the curtain for tonight. I'm not going to teach more than this. Tomorrow, we're going to come with fresh eyes, okay, fresh minds, and we are going to complete the things we said we are going to complete in this 2-day class. Now, we've done, these, all right? All right. Now, the next thing to do is to move you into software development lifecycle, and then how to build a product. We talk about the MVP. We talk about Scrum roles, and then I will talk some bit about certification and a lot of things. And then we'll just talk about some questions and answers and how you can navigate your way and transition into this great, lovely roles as Scrum Master, product owners, and BAs. At this point, I'm just going to take questions, and I have a few questions here already. Okay, and if you have more questions, I'm here till whatever. Now, if you feel like dropping off, please drop off. The recording will be made available. I will send you an email for that. Now, if you are not in our Telegram group, please join the Telegram group. I'm going to send the link in here for you to join the Telegram group. Okay, it's easier to send you information that way, but of course, we do have your emails. We'll send you information. But if you're not in the Telegram group, I'm going to send you the link to our Telegram group in the chat quickly. So please do join our Telegram group, and do join the Telegram group. Okay, perfect. So now let me take the questions. Now, please feel free to jump off if you want to jump off, but I will be answering some questions. And if you have any more questions, please feel free to ask your questions. Now, the first question here is, I also see building digital product for free. Will we be just playing a BA role in product building or partake in the entire product life cycle? Now, when we say you partake in a project on this platform, it's different from any other thing you've probably heard elsewhere, okay? Now, when you do a project on our platform, you do everything end to end, right? It's everything end to end. And there are a lot of projects that we are actually working on. A lot of projects that we work on. Lots. Okay, it's everything end to end. I mean, if we don't do everything end to end, there's no reason why we are paying about 15 developers to be on our platform. There's no reason why we are paying, that much developers to be on the platform, right? If we are not doing projects end to end, right? Like the AfroShop project is end to end. The Speak It project is end to end. The Afro event, the driver app, all these projects are end to end. So you see, the students will go from from the project brief. Okay, they'll start from the project brief, and then they'll move on to the next. We even go as far as branding. Okay, this is the project that is actually going to collision. Okay, we go as far as branding for some of our projects that are really, worth investing in. All right. We go as far as that. All right. So for this one, you go, the planning stage where you're trying to understand the scope, you're trying to, prioritize for MVP. You're going to do all of that stuff. And then week in, week out, you're going to be getting, the way we would run our project, you're going to be getting to-dos. Okay. You can see like this project now, they are meant to do a few things. Okay. Like this is what they're meant to do in this discovery stage. The discovery stage is like the planning stage. Okay. Identify these, create these, do the tam, sam, and sum. Aha. So this is an example of things you do that is not BA. Tam, sam, and sum. This is not BA. Tam, sam, and sum is not BA. Tam, sam, and sum is more of product management. Okay. You prioritize for your use case. So you get, then for you're done with the discovery stage, you move to the next stage. You move to the next stage until you engage the designers. And once you engage the designers, that is when, and I'm going to show you all of this during the SDLC. Okay. You see all the projects that we have here. Give me a minute. In Figma. Then you go through all the phase from planning to requirements, this is even a recent project we got for the airport. It's a POC project. One of the project sponsors decided to, run this project with us, and we got some of our students on this project. Okay, it's called the Airpacks project. All right, for the airport. We are going to be showing this to the airport at Calgary very soon. All right, so this is another project that we have. All right, so several projects that, during the course of what we do here. This is another project, Speak It, that has gone to development. So if you see, this is the development of the project. Okay, you can see this is a project that we are working on, and this is the design. So we have several projects like this, not one, not two, going through the low fidelity and moving into the high fidelity. And then you have to do all the brainstorming, all the product management, all the strategy work. And there's no way you go through the strategy work of a product. You go through all of these things that you cannot stand in front of a product. You cannot apply for a product manager role. So why we don't teach you everything in product ownership, all right? You can actually learn product management from doing the job. All right, so we do everything for that person who asked, and I'm going to be talking more about the product lifecycle and the SDLC tomorrow. Is that okay? Where you move from the planning to the analysis to design, and I will show you how we move on our projects from one phase to the next phase. We have our own special products cycle that we use. All right, and let me just show you an idea of what I'm talking about. All right, so this is our own product approach that we use. So you go from immersion to vision to conceive and design, and then development and testing and evaluate and iterate. And just saying this alone on an interview can get you a job. We've seen people just mentioning this alone, the how they go through the project, just this alone gets them the job. So we have our ways of doing things. Everything is done according to order here. All right, just to answer that question that you have, okay? All right. Why is this thing breaking? These guys have broken this thing again. Okay. Okay, so that's just to show you some of the projects that we have. So I hope that answered your question. Now, another person said, I was at work when the course started, so I don't know if my inquiry was spoken about. What time and days will the course run for and duration? Oh, that's a good question. All right, so the time and days is Fridays and Saturdays, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. EST. And then Fridays, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. EST, Saturdays, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. EST, and it runs for 10 weeks. And then after the 10 weeks, you can then start working on your project, all right? Because then you now have the knowledge and the skill set to do what you need to do, all right? Starting on the 19th and all the way through to the 22nd of June. I hope that answers your question. That person will ask that. Sorry, I missed the cost part. Please, can you drop the one-time fee again? Oh, okay, that's fine. It's the same link for all of them. I'm going to drop it in there. Okay, I'm going to drop it in there for you. Okay, so I've dropped the link for you, payment. Now for the one time, you use off 25 to get 25% off. All right, off 25 to get 25% off. So I'm going to put that in there for the one time. You use, so for one time, you say off 25. Now, if you're doing 3-time payment, okay, you do off 20. You get 20% off for the 3-time. Okay, you say off 20, and then you apply that, and you get 20% off. So for the 3-time. Now for the 4-time payment, you use off 15. Okay, for the 4-time payment. And if you select the 4-time payment and you do off 15%, you will be able to get that amount and pay for it. Okay, let's go for another one. Is the project manager that does the implementation? No, it's when I talk about implementation, I've been building the product, if it's a product, or working on the process. So those people that are trained for getting that work done. For example, if we are building a product like what I just showed you, the developer will be the implementer. The designer will be the one implementing the design. Okay, so that's what I mean. So the project manager is not implementing, does not do the implementation. The project manager actually manages the project resources. And the project manager has 3 resources that he manages: the resource of time, the resource of scope, the resource of there's the resource of budget. Sorry, there's four resources: the resources of time, the resources of scope, the resources of budget, and the resources of people. So that is what the project manager does. Those 4 things. I repeat again: the resource of time, the resource of budget. You see, the budget is not the BA's concern. The resource of scope. Now, this is where the project manager and the BA work hand in hand to make sure that there's no scope creep. Okay? And the resource of people. He ensures that there is enough people staffed on that project to get the work done. Go and ask any project manager. Those are the 4 categories of the work that they do: people, time, budget, and scope. Do you understand that? I can't go into the details, but that is enough for you to, know what the project manager does. All right. How long is the practicum? The practicum, okay, is student driven. Okay. So typically it lasts anywhere from 8 weeks to about 22 weeks, depending on how huge that project is. For example, I give an example, like this project that is going to Collision has been on for like 6 months, right? Because we do practical stuff, real stuff. It's not that thing we just do, and it's been on for like 6 months. It's a real project, all right? And there are some projects that are done in 3 months. Some projects is done in 6 weeks, in 8 weeks, all right? But whatever you learn from the 10 weeks is enough for you to get a job. You are just doing the project to make sure that you are able to apply the skill set. That's it. That's it. All right. So that person asking about how long the practicum is between 8 to 22 weeks, depending on how, because remember, it is student driven. We give you things to do week in, week out. So if we give you a to do and you do it on time and you report it on Tuesday, right? Then you move on to the next thing. And then you bring it again. We give you the next thing to do. You do it. You bring it again. Before you know it, you start working with the designer. You start putting the requirements together. Okay. You get to the stage where, so let me show you a few things. For example, you get to for example, this one. You start writing requirements like this. Okay. You pass it on to your designer. The design can say, this is design. The designer will take it and then implement the design, right? Let me show you an example of that. Take that and then implement the design for you. For example, on the Skill Garage project, okay? So it's the whole life cycle of the project and it's actually student driven, okay? I wanted to show you something there quickly. You can see this. Okay, so this is the requirements you put together and then you pass it on to the designer. The designer, I'm going to talk about this tomorrow on the SDLC. Okay, you pass it on to the designer designs what you have, tell them to design, and then you go from there. Okay. All right. I think that's all we can take for now. Tomorrow, I'm going to answer the other questions that you have. Is that okay? So tomorrow, I'm going to answer the other questions that you have, and we're going to look at the SDLC. We're going to look at some other things. It's the same link you used for today's class. We're going to use for tomorrow's class. Thank you for joining, and I hope you've learned 1 or 2 things from today's session. Tomorrow, we're going to take it off to the next level and explain certain other roles like product ownership, scrum master, and then help you to begin to see how you can transition using what you have to get what you want. All right? Okay. Bye for now and have a lovely night rest. Okay? Good night.